Hello, everyone. Welcome to Criminally Confident. My name is Lacey Jane, and I thank you for being here. I know there are a million places that you could be right now, but I love that you're choosing to spend it here with me in sunny Florida. And today is Thursday, February 19th. We have a lot going on, including those Les Wexner deposition tapes that came from yesterday. They were actually in New Albany, Ohio, which is about, as I joked yesterday, 12 minutes from my home. So that's interesting. I listened to some of it and I thought it was just, honestly, I was like I didn't pick up the vibe that everyone else would be interested in it. So I figured that we would go ahead and pick up where we left off yesterday. But before we get to that, if you could please do me a favor and make sure and hit that like button, that thumbs up. It helps the algorithm greatly, which means basically it's not my ego. It gets the video in front of more people. And we want that to happen. So another heads up before we continue, we are about to have an influx of women show up here at the house. And it's probably going to be a little bit noisy, but I will do my best to mute out the sound. So just hang in there with me and make sure to sub if you aren't a sub, by the way, obviously. Okay, guys, I got it all set up and ready to go. We're either gonna hit one of two things. We're gonna get to the intruder, or we are going to get to 9 p.m. It's one or the other. So let's go ahead. I already have this keyed up. Share this tab.
Back in January, Mr. Nermi, Ms. Wilmot.
Who is this? Just randomly show up in my room.
Ms. Hughes, please come forward to be sworn.
Can you spell your first and last name?
To grab the breeze.
Hughes, H-U-G-H-E-S. Raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear.
Do you guys know who this is?
Nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes.
Oh, I had messed up here.
Come on.
Hey, Jim. Good morning, Ms. Hughes. Can you tell us your full name, please?
Skylee Hughes.
Your contact with the county attorney's office is continuing, right?
Yes.
And when you're watching the trial, you're watching to see if there is any inconsistencies.
And that didn't work out. So after we hung out, we stayed the night, we slept in a little bit, and then I don't remember what started an argument that day because we argued several times that month. But we were arguing, and I just remember I left crying. I didn't want to leave things that way, but I knew that he'd call me or I'd call him, and there would be apologies. That was always the cycle. So I felt unsettled leaving things that way, but I just thought we'll talk about it later because we were both so upset. So I left. I walked down the block, got into the U-Haul truck, and started to leave. And I thought I pulled up to the house one more time just to see, if anything. And I called him, and he came out on the front porch, and he came around to the side, and we were talking a little bit more. It seemed like things were going to go well, but then he was still upset. And so then I was still crying. And he went over to the front porch, and he was going to go inside, and I was watching him before I pulled away, and he turned around and flipped me the double bird and then walked in the house and shut the door. So I just started crying.
And you were crying as you drove away?
Mm-hmm.
A pretty serious fight that day?
It didn't turn violent that day, but yeah, it was serious.
I want to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 439. You could just read that to yourself.
Yes.
What is that, ma'am?
An email I sent to Travis before moving. Maybe I don't remember the date. I think it was like February 2008.
And was this before the last day you moved?
It was
before the day you pulled
Yes,
away?
it was before I moved.
What was the purpose of you sending this email?
I had kicked around. Well, I knew that I wanted to move, but I wasn't sure how to tell Travis because he was kind of reactive sometimes whenever I made exertions of independence. So I sent him that email to sort of like just remind him that, we're not always going to be hanging out like this and doing things like this. We're going to move on and see other people, marry other people, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. After you pull away, crying, you
mother
said he
is
flipped you the double
Out of my
bird.
window.
You're driving your U-Haul with your car on the back, is that right?
Yes, my Infinity on the back.
When do you next receive contact from Mr. Alexander?
I don't recall, but I would have called him or he would have called me. I do remember receiving contact from him while I was in Hollister, California, staying at my older half-sister's house.
Would this have been the same day or the next day?
Maybe, well, it might have been the next day. It was late at night, so I want to say it was the next day because I remember stopping in Southern California to meet with Gus Searcy. If I had driven straight to Hollister, I could have made it there by the evening. I'm not sure where I slept. I know I slept in my U-Haul some nights. It took me a few days to get up there because I made stops. But it would have been that day or the next day.
Okay. When you, backing up a little bit, when Travis flipped you off, were you mad? Were you sad? How did you feel?
It hurt my feelings. I didn't want to leave things like that. He used to say we should never go to sleep angry at each other. And so I kind of, I saw it like similarly that I'm leaving town, I'm leaving the state. Who knows when we're going to see each other again. He wanted to go do the Pacific Coast Highway and come up and see why we can visit me there and do things there that were on the list, 1,000 places. So that was sort of a tentative plan in the future. And I would see him at frequent legal events, but it was going to be a long period of time that I wouldn't see him. And I didn't want to leave it like that, even though we were going to talk on the phone.
Why did you care about leaving it like that? You had this horrendous fight. You had sex the night before you had the horrendous fight, right?
If we didn't, I don't remember that night before, but definitely the day of that I left.
Okay. You had sex the day of this fight?
Yes, before the fight.
Okay. What was the fight about?
I don't recall the specifics, but there was a running theme at that time about,
She's describing what the fight was about. What was this running thing that you were fighting about?
one was the pamphlet.
We're talking about the day she left. Mesa moved to Wairika. This is a very special point in time. On the day you left Mesa, the day Travis flipped you off as a goodbye, you had an argument, right?
Yes,
It sounds like
Rude.
At
Okay.
that point in your relationship, right?
yes, during that month.
What were those running themes?
They were, he had come clean and told me about Lisa Andrews at that point. So I wasn't angry. I was just shocked. Like I thought,
All right, we're gonna have to
You don't need to apologize.
speed this up. This is ridiculous.
Objection. What's your rule?
Yes, I'm going to roll the objection. Let's not make comments. Ask the question. I'm going to sustain the objection. Ask your next question.
Damn.
He told you about Lisa Andrews.
yes,
This is the first time you knew about this, right?
no,
Yeah.
someone else had told me the day before, I think. It was in April that this person told me.
And you were describing, before I interrupted, that you weren't angry with him?
Sex evidence.
Uh,
Were you angry with him when you found out he was dating Lisa Andrews?
No, I wasn't angry.
How did you feel?
Well, by that time I knew he was interested in me. I felt really bad
Really?
because I knew what it was like when I found out that he was seeing a bunch of girls on the side while I was his girlfriend. And now he had a girlfriend and I was one of the girls that he was seeing on the side that his girlfriend didn't know about. I guess she didn't know about me. I don't know.
And you mentioned Mimi. Is that Mimi Hall?
Yes, Mimi Hall. I think she said Marie Hall here. She goes by Mimi.
And you said at
Good
this time you
night.
knew he had interest in Miss Hall. Is that
Yes,
accurate?
yes,
Is this at the same time that he was having sex with you?
yes.
Why was it then okay with you to be having sex with him when you knew he had this interest in Miss Hall?
Well, internally it didn't always feel okay, but it's kind of like old habits die hard. We were still together physically, so the opportunity was always there to act that way. And obviously there's still some chemistry or attraction to a degree. And I knew it was unhealthy, but I wasn't making healthy choices at the time.
counselor, have you not been in a horribly toxic relationship
After,
with a crazy broad?
well, let me ask you this before we move on. When you were making these bad choices and you said old habits die hard, were you under the impression that he was or was not having sexual activities with Miss Hall?
Definitely not, was my impression.
Okay.
They weren't together, was my impression.
Who is that girl talking to?
As it relates to, you said you and Travis made a pledge, if I heard you correctly, to not to go to bed angry at each other. Is that what I heard?
Yeah, that was one of his philosophies.
So after this fight and when you were pulling away, or the day that you pulled away, did you speak with him that evening then?
I don't remember if it was that evening or the next evening, but we did speak.
So you might have gone to bed angry one night, huh?
Yes. Well, I wasn't angry. He might have gone angry.
Okay.
I was
You
very
weren't
sad.
angry.
That is so dumb and unrealistic,
When
in my
he called
honest
you after all
opinion.
this, you find out he's interested in another woman. You
I
know
still
that he
believe
was
that.
dating yourself and another woman at the same time. He flipped you off leaving his home. And again, begets the question, Jodi, why pick up the phone when he calls?
Objection to text message. She indicated that she wasn't sure. She called him or he called her. I think she indicated she called him.
Restate your question.
Why talk to him on the phone?
Come on, Juan.
Well, he did send me a text message. It was either that night or the next. It was a very mean text message. And in the text message, he had a lot of his facts screwed up. So I called him to correct him.
What was this text message, and we'll get into some of those later today, but in terms of the subject matter, what was he mad about?
He was mad about the person who had informed me about Lisa. He was mad about, he had got into my Gmail account because he had my password, and he found instant messages between me and a guy named Steve Harrell that I had started chatting with on ldslinka.net. It's a Mormon social networking site. And I don't remember, it was so long. He just, yes, my phone started beeping and it beeped, beep, 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 because all of these text messages were coming through. And it was all one single one he typed out and sent, and it just comes through broken up with X amount of characters per text message.
So you said something of interest there. You said he got into your Gmail account. How did he do that?
He had my,
Sustained.
Before he texted you in April 2008, you said he got into your email account, right?
yes.
How did he gain access to your email account in April of 2008?
Please hit the like button, guys.
You
Thanks.
just said he got into your
Cool,
email
you may
account.
answer the question.
I gave him my Gmail password and my Facebook password in October 2007.
Why?
It was a suggestion he threw out there for us to rebuild trust. He gave me his MySpace password and Facebook password, and I gave him my Facebook and Gmail password. He originally suggested that we exchange password on each of our accounts, and I said, I don't care, I'll give you two. And he said, okay. And I kind of regretted it as soon as I said it, but we stuck with that, so it's 2 for 2.
So based on
Okay.
these concerns you had in October that you talked about his being unfaithful to you, a deal was struck where you who had not been unfaithful to him was to give your passwords to him as well.
I'm sorry, I kind of got lost in the question.
Oh, man.
In 2007 in October, you talked about how you got the feeling he was being unfaithful to you, right? Or that happened during the course of the relationship.
Well, I wouldn't have considered it unfaithful because we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, but his roommate came up to me and said, sorry.
Nothing off for the truth of the matter asserted.
He told me that Travis was seeing other people, and that wasn't a revelation to me because I assumed that maybe I wondered if he was still carrying on the same behavior that he was while he and I were official. But he told me that he's trying to date other people, whereas Travis was telling me I'm not dating anyone, but I occasionally go on dates with people, and occasionally he sleeps with people. So we weren't together, so I didn't feel like it was my business to know about other aspects of his life there. But
Hey,
at the same time, we were trying
Kevin.
to reestablish trust
Thanks
between each
for
other because we
coming.
weren't sure whether or not we were going to get back together and be exclusive or supposedly exclusive.
And this concern that he was dating and or sleeping with other people, that motivated you to give your passwords to him. That was part of the deal that was struck, is what I'm
Can
asking.
you say that one more time?
This information that Mr. Hepworth gave you about Mr. Alexander sleeping with other people, that somehow wound up in you giving your passwords to him?
Objection, that's correct. Yeah, but he's seeing other people, not sleeping with other people.
Restate your question.
You received information that Travis was dating and having sex with other people, right?
Well, his roommate didn't say he was having sex with people, but because that's what he was doing while he was with me, I assumed that was
Objection, no. The question she said, he didn't say it.
Based on that, what did you assume?
based on that. I assumed he was still carrying on the same behavior unless he had changed his ways.
So this information then, going back to my question.
It's crazy.
That ultimately
That's
then,
crazy. Hi, Lefty.
you wound up giving your passwords to him, even though he was the one who was being unfaithful. Or I know unfaithful is not the right word. He was the one seeing other people.
Yeah, we exchanged passwords
Why did you feel the need to give yours to him? Is, I guess, my question.
because I wanted it to be an equal exchange. He was giving me two, so originally it was gonna be 1 for 1, but I grew up, sure, I'll give you two, just so that he knows, like, he can trust me, and so, that's why we went up to 2.
So after you pulled away, you say he's texting you, he's angry about the fact that you're conversing with someone named Steve Carroll. Is that correct?
Yes,
And so you made, if we understood you correctly, you made contact with him because him being Mr. Alexander, because he had his facts wrong. Is that right?
yes, he did have his facts wrong.
Why would you care if Mr. Alexander had his facts wrong?
I could tell by the text message that he was angry, and I don't know why it still affected me, but when he got to that level, it wouldn't make me feel good, and I would just start shaking, and it's hard to describe. I would just feel some kind of trepidation or apprehension, or I don't know if fear is a little bit strong, but just unsettled.
When he got mad at you, you said you would visibly shake.
Yes, well, not at the beginning of the relationship,
But at this point, in April of 2008, if he would get mad at you, you would shake.
yes.
Did this shaking? Did that begin before or after the beatings began?
Before.
Sustained.
Did this begin before he slapped you in the face or in the cheek?
It was kind of like the jaw and neck area. Yes, it began in the fall 2007.
Before he threw you down, choked you?
Before he choked me, yes.
Before he broke your finger, kicked you in the ribs?
Yes.
Before he pushed you down in the room, wouldn't let you leave, and insulted your family?
No, I think they already began by that point.
So some of the physical contact began, and you actually got to a point in your relationship where you would shake when he got angry. Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, it was like my nerves. It's kind of like how a chihuahua shakes, you know, they just kind of tremble a little bit.
And you could observe yourself having this reaction in April of 2008, even when you're miles away from him in Hollister, California. Is that right?
Yes, I was asleep and it woke me up and I began to have that feeling. It starts like as like a tingly, uncomfortable, like nervous, like you're nervous and starting to just get afraid.
Afraid.
No, afraid. My nerves were afraid, like just frazzled.
What were you nervous?
Yeah, so are mine. Get to the
Yeah, I
damn
remember now,
point.
Said she was threatening to, he was just threatening to, he was angry because he wanted to know the name of the person that had told me the information about Lisa. He misunderstood and thought her name was Michelle. And he said, if you don't tell me Michelle's last name, I'm going to, you know, I don't know. He just said, I'm telling, oh yeah, he said, I'm going to tell all your friends and family basically about all the, I can't remember how he characterized it, but I think it was something like psycho things that you've done. And I didn't know what he was talking about. And so, and first of all, her name wasn't Michelle. He got that wrong. So I called him back and it was a very friendly phone call. I threatened him back.
You know
Right
what?
in the back, what do you mean?
When she said it, like, I actually believed that part of what she said because she was like, oh yeah. And that didn't come across as like she's lying entirely about that part. Like, I'm, from what I've done professionally, I feel like I'm a pretty good judge when I'm being lied to. That genuinely did not come off as a lie, in my opinion. But yeah,
I think the last part of the text message said time to spit it out. And he was talking about this girl he thought was her name was Michelle. It was Marie, but not Marie Hall, it was Marie. And I was kind of mean. I was at that point, I just, the way we left, and now he's waking me up in the middle of the night with a whole bunch of text messages. They're all unkind. He's threatening me. I just felt like he was being a complete bully at that point, and I was tired of being bullied. So I called him up and I said, after he said time to spit it out, and he just felt like he was trying to reach through the phone and still exert control over me. And I'm at my sister's house and I'm sleeping. So I think I just got fed up and I called up and I said,
What did you say?
it was really mean. I said, the only thing I'm gonna be spitting out is the fact that you're a pedophile with a past and something like that. And I was saying, I don't know. At the time I characterized what I saw as child pornography, but I realized it wasn't child pornography, it was just a picture of a young boy. So I think I said something to that effect and he got very quiet.
Did that then end the conversation?
it sounded
No, I felt really
like
bad about it. So my tone turned softer because I didn't like to snap at him. Usually it turned really bad when I snapped at him. But this time he was a
it
little bit more
was
humble.
not that case.
And he went back to this Michelle character that said her name wasn't Michelle, it was Marie. And I didn't know that Mimi went by Marie, so he was worried about Marie who, and I described her, I don't know. It wasn't that same Marie. And so, I don't know, we just talked it out eventually, and I don't remember how it ended, but I think it ended up like I was more apologizing.
Lies.
It always seemed that way, like our arguments would always end up with me apologizing more, and I felt bad for saying that too.
Okay. From Hollister, then, where do you go? Is this where you meet Mr. Searcy to go back up to Wairika? Can you just explain that to us?
I think I met Mr. Searcy in Southern California and then drove to Hollister and stayed there one night, maybe 2 nights. I think it was just one night, and then hit the road and went all the way to Wairika.
And at that point in time, then you began, this is when you moved into your grandparents' house from what you're telling us before, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now you are hours away from Travis, right?
Yeah, about 1,000 miles.
Okay. You talked earlier about how you felt like he could reach through the phone and grab you. Did you feel any differently with a few more days and a few more 100 miles behind you?
It was a gradual process, but I started feeling after I moved to Wairika like this cloud was lifting off of me. I don't know what kind of cloud, just maybe I wasn't seeing things clearly while I was in Mesa, or I was very depressed. I was suicidal during that time, and I wasn't feeling that way then. Finally, when I went to Wairika, I enjoyed spending time with my grandparents. They're not getting any younger, and so I liked the time that I was spending with them and my brother and sister. But obviously, association with family, I was enjoying, and my photography business began to really take off. Well, I had a lot of weddings booked. I didn't end up getting to shoot those weddings, but other portraits and things. The market was pretty open there for the taking.
Okay. You were happier there in Wairika?
I was still depressed, but I felt better than I did in Mesa.
Okay, are
Was
we
it still
moving on?
Depressed about what?
It was still up and down with Travis, so I would feel down at times and then up, and then sometimes I would do something to piss him off, and he would say, send more mean text messages or emails or chatting or something like that. So I didn't like that because I knew that I would still have to see him in the future as far as at prepaid legal events. And I wanted us to be able to be friends. I wanted us to be able to show up at these events with our own respective spouses and be happy for each other. I was friends with my previous exes, and I wanted to be in that way with Travis.
Stay away from crazy women.
Was that this desire to remain friends and the fact that you might see him at prepaid legal events? Is that the motivation behind continuing any kind of relationship with him?
Well, maybe partly, but it was more the fact that I still had feelings for him and I still wasn't making the best choices for myself. And so I would still call him. I would still answer calls when he called me, and we just continued almost the same thing except from far away.
Okay. We heard yesterday a recording of could only really be characterized,
Oh, God.
both of it anyway, as a phone sex conversation. But you recorded on May 10th. were you having other similar chats of a similar nature with Mr. Alexander when you moved back to Wairika?
Yes, that's when they started.
How often did they occur?
I can only think of 3 other times other than that one, and then prior to moving, it had only happened 1 time.
Now, you mentioned earlier this desire to be friends and that your families might spend time together and that sort of thing. Why talk about subjects that we heard on the phone call? Why talk about those? Why not just leave it at talk about prepaid legal or mutual friends?
Actually, I liked it. It wasn't about the sex. It was more about, I mean, I wasn't having sex, but it was more about, he was very nice to me. He was complimentary. He said nice things. Even when they were explicit, they were still complimentary toward me. And there were times when he was very mean, and then he would be nice. And I craved the nice from him rather than I dreaded the mean. So when he was nice, I tried to prolong it so that it would last longer.
The nice that you got from the sex, so you try to make the phone sex calls last longer. Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, I wanted to draw it out some so that it wasn't just, like my mom and then hang up. So that it was actually we used to have long conversations and they were pleasant, and it wasn't sex. The topic of sex might have been broached, but it wasn't phone sex. And so now it seemed like he would be very nice to me, but then it would always lead to that, or he wanted it to lead to that. So at times, like the one that you heard yesterday was, he wanted me to get on the phone and start talking to him. And we had already sort of had that topic come up just prior to that phone call, minutes before that phone call. And so
I agree with this.
I knew that's what that phone call would be about. So I did call him knowing that that's what it would be, but he was being very, very nice online, and I hoped that he would continue to be nice to me on the phone.
To a degree.
And we're talking May of 2008, right?
Yes, that one would have been May 10th.
But these other calls, was this the one we heard yesterday? Was this the last of these calls? Was it the first of these calls?
No, it was probably the third. Well, there was the one the day after we broke up. I don't know how much, I've never done that before, so I was just kind of listening and trying to say some things. I'm sorry.
The phone call you were just describing for us, that was the first instance you had phone sex with him. This is before you moved back to Wairika, right?
I was in Big Sur that day, and I guess it was phone sex. I got the sense that he was masturbating.
Okay. Let's talk about the calls in Wairika when you moved back in May of 2008. How many phone sex conversations did you have with him during that time period?
I believe there were 2 prior to the one, during
God.
that time period. There were 2 prior to the one that was played yesterday, and then 1 afterward, I think.
What other things, you mentioned your photography business starting to pick up. Did you have a job when you moved back?
Not right away. I was putting in applications everywhere. There weren't many places in Wairika.
Did you also, was your mind open to the ideas of dating?
It wasn't on my mind, so I can't say if I wasn't consciously closed off the idea of it.
Please.
If you were dating another individual at that time, would you have felt like you were betraying Mr. Alexander?
I don't know, because prior to that, I would have felt that way. But at this point in our relationship, I probably would have felt more like I was betraying the other person. I don't think I would date anybody else, at least on a serious level. Maybe I'm monogamous, so if Travis and I aren't technically together, but I would have had to cut that off if I were to go forward with something else.
During this time period, was there, I know you mentioned chatting with a gentleman on LDS LinkUp. Were there any other individuals to which you had an interest in at that point in time in your life?
Yeah, there were a few other people, and we didn't chat on LDS LinkUp. We chatted on Gmail, but we met on LDS LinkUp.
I'm so
There was another guy that I was beginning to talk to at the beginning of 2008 on LDS LinkUp as well. His name was Sam Schultz, and I wasn't sure where, you might get off topic, sorry, but
Well, let me ask you this. What about Ryan Burns? What was your relationship with him?
okay. I didn't really have a relationship with Ryan. What happened was I got a text message from Zion, another person in the business, and out of the blue, he asked me what's up in Spanish. He was texting me, and I texted him back, and he asked me where I was. I texted him back and told him where we got, and then he said you need to come out to Utah. There's some people I'd like to meet, and I thought people mean plural, so I said who, and he took me back and said I found your husband, and I wanted to know who he was, so I think I joked about the future. I said Mr. Arias as a joke, and he didn't tell me, but he started giving me, I asked him for clues. He started giving me clues. He said things about his accomplishments in the business, and I just been on a conference call with somebody with Ryan Burns as a speaker, and so it matched. And so I thought, probably not him, I wasn't sure. And so I think I asked him how many letters does his first name have, and he thought that's when he told me 4. So look at that matches. Things like that. We just went back and forth until I finally got to him. I said, I think I know who he is, and he asked me if he could give the guy my phone number, and I said yes. And so I think it was the next day, or maybe that same day that Ryan called me.
And what period of time would this have been? Would this have been May or April? Do you recall?
I don't recall. I think it would have been April, because I remember texting Zion and saying, make sure you don't edify me as a blonde, because I am a brunette now, because I dyed my hair before moving out of Mesa.
You dyed your hair before moving out of Mesa.
There
Just
she
so we're
goes
clear,
using
this
the
is
word
April 2008.
edify
Before April 2008,
again.
you said you moved.
Actually, I think it was late March. I don't remember. The only reason I remember those dates is because I used to have date and timestamp photos. I guess I still do on the hard drive. But I remember the last Super Saturday that I went to was sometime in late March, because it was after convention, and I waited until after convention to dye my hair, and I showed up at convention with dark hair and a few blonde highlights.
Which this might be a good time for recess.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, 125 in the jury room. Please remember the admonition. You are excused.
Please tell me that at 125, they are like, okay. Hypothetically speaking, go with me, guys. All right, we are leaving off at 132. I want to hear what this is.
Okay.
Without reading what he said, you recall some of the things he would call you.
Judge, if you could just give us a date, that'd be the time of the date and whatever she's going to say, that she's refreshed about.
I think this is the
She's-
text
her
message
recollection of what she was never given
session.
any time just to testify.
Section.
Judge, recommendation.
All right, never mind. Either or could be used with how they were speaking to one another. I'm gripping this so hard. I'm like, please get to the part that I want to hear, because I've Googled it and I can't figure out an answer. What was I talking about? If you're a content creator,
Please be seated. The record will
Do
show the presence
this.
of the jury.
watch
The defendant
yourself
and
from
counsel
3
and
months
testimony may
ago.
continue.
Tell me how cringy it is. Maybe even 3 years ago, if you have content that old.
Ms. Arias, before we pick up again and speak about your relationship with Mr. Burns, I'd like you to take a look at exhibits 440 and 441. And actually, let me say 440 for the time being. And let me see if you recognize.
Hold on. The question, if you're talking to me, the question is, when does she start talking about the intruder theory? I've looked, I've chat GPT'd it. I'm allegedly in the right video. I just like, I'm sick and tired of hearing about things that I don't need to, I don't need to know about. So let's get to the good stuff. Also, just so you guys know, my laptop is down to 29%. So I don't know why that is. Because it's plugged in. So we're going to adjust as needed, but yeah, I don't know. Let's go back. That's me currently yelling at Frank.
Yes, I recognize him.
I'm having my husband grab me
And what is exhibit number 440?
a charger thing.
These are text
Thank
messages
you,
sent from
guys.
Travis and I, dated, well, it says it's dated from 2106 to 6608.
And do you recognize those as being those text messages?
Yes, these are all the text messages. Well, not all of them, some were deleted, but the ones that were recovered, these are the text messages between us.
And as best you can recall, are the times correct?
Actually, no, the time is 7 hours off. It's 7 hours ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Arias. Now, we ended this morning with talking about Brian Burns, and I believe you were just telling us how misused his brother Zion, told you he found your future husband, and that sort of thing. And I think we're at the point in time where Ryan was going to call you, or you received a call from him, right?
Yes, I received a call from him one time when I was walking out in Wairika.
And had you recalled meeting Mr. Burns before?
I think he recalled more than I recall. The only thing I remember about him is I saw him in Oklahoma City in 2008. He didn't seem very approachable, not because of his manner, but because,
Yes.
Can you describe your impressions of him when you met him?
yes, he was surrounded by a lot of people. So I don't know if I made my way up to him and introduced myself, or if he made his way over to my side of the room and then we just introduced ourselves to each other. I can't remember that. I just remember it was at a gathering with some people that were on Team Renew. And then also on Saturday night of the convention, a bunch of us piled into a limousine. And drove.
Yeah, so that's our impression.
Sorry.
What happened, Jodi?
The only other thing I remember about Ryan in Oklahoma City is that we all piled into a limousine together. I wouldn't even have remembered he was there, except when I reviewed my pictures later, he was in one of the pictures inside the limo.
So it sounds like that Mr. Lovinger was attempting to play matchmaker between you and Ryan Burns. Is that fair to say?
Yes,
And were you open to dating? How did you feel about it? Would you feel like you were betraying Travis if you dated Ryan? Can you just kind of explain your mindset to us?
yes. I wouldn't have felt like I was betraying Travis, but I was worried about how Travis would react. So I asked Zion in one of my text messages, and not that you would, but please don't tell Travis about this. He's a good friend, but in order for this to have any chance, he shouldn't know about it. And Zion texted me back and said he shall not know.
And why were you concerned, or what gave you concern if Mr. Alexander were to know about you perhaps dating or speaking with Mr. Burns?
Well, it had been a pattern of Travis's since before we dated that he didn't take kindly to me going on dates with other guys. And throughout, well, I didn't go on dates with other guys while we were together, but even after we broke up, I went on another date with John Dixon, and that didn't go well at all when Travis found out. And then there was another guy that
John
was teasing me
Dickman.
about him for forever after it almost. And also when we had that big fight in his bedroom the week that I was moving, that's when I told him about this guy, Steve Carroll, that I was text messaging or chatting with, and that erupted. So I just didn't want to hear it from him. I knew he was 1,000 miles away and he couldn't hurt me, but it still hurt my feelings when he screamed and yelled, and it was a headache, it was drama, and I just wanted things to be peaceful between us.
Even though you were 1,000 miles away, let me ask you this, were there occasions during this period of time where Travis yelled at you on the phone?
Yes,
Did you do the shaking that you spoke about?
I probably did.
I guess I didn't realize it was 1,000 miles.
Now, from your understanding, when you were having these phone conversations with Mr. Burns, where did he live?
My understanding was that he was in West Oregon, Utah.
So you're thousands of miles away. Is this a relationship that drives over the telephone, text message? Describe that for us.
We began talking. There weren't any major fireworks. He was nice. We just talked back and forth for a little while. Nothing ultra flirty, and then it sort of tapered off for some days, maybe a week or so.
No phone sex, in other words.
Then he texted me again out of the blue, and I explained to him, well, I texted you a few times, he didn't answer. So I kind of thought maybe he lost interest. And then he explained he was camping and he didn't have cell phone reception. And as a joke, he was saying things like love or that ever happened and all these nice text messages. And I thought, okay, well, he does like me, he just without a cell phone reach. So we sort of picked up again and began talking some more.
Began talking now. I know you were hundreds of miles away and you're not seeing each other, but in terms of the relationship, was this a romantic relationship, a prospective romantic relationship?
I would say a prospective romantic relationship.
This is old. Thank you for your key insight.
I want to show you what's been marked.
I don't know who I was saying that to.
280. You recognize that?
Yes,
What is that?
that's a text message that Ryan sent to me when we were text messaging back and forth.
Is there a background to that text message that was related to a conversation?
Yes, eventually we talked about meeting, and it would make more sense for me to go out there because there's more to do in Utah by far than there is Puerto Rico. Plus there are national parks and other things surrounding the area he lived. So I was gonna go out there and hang out so that we could get to know each other.
Hang out.
No, Judge, if I may approach. Ms. Arias, I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit 392. Can you look at that? Tell us if you recognize that.
Yes, I do.
What is that?
It's a text message Travis sent to me immediately after another one he sent to me.
I move to amend exhibit 392.
What have you, Judge?
Hi, Matthew. Have a good one.
Can you see the date on there, Ms. Arias?
Yes,
Oh, no. There's another one.
See 0502. What does that denote?
May 2nd. That would have been 2008.
2008. And how can you be sure it was 2008?
I didn't get my Helio phone until April 2008, and that's on my Helio.
And the text message says, send me some pictures. I want to see you right now. What does that mean?
He had just sent me a much longer text message talking about, alluding to the Little Red Riding Hood thing that he wanted to do, and the pictures that he wanted to take, the same thing we were talking about on the tape that you heard yesterday. And he wanted me to take phone pictures of myself and send them to him right then.
No.
Phone pictures of yourself, like pictures of your face?
Well, explicit photographs.
What do you mean explicit?
Maybe nude, like sexually explicit.
Was he specific in his request?
That was the only, I think that was the only request that I remember on that day.
Just a sexually explicit picture, correct?
Well, he said pictures plural.
Okay. And you said this was also related to a discussion of I believe you said Little Red Riding Hood fantasy, is that right?
Yes,
Is that the fantasy we heard described yesterday on the tape?
yes, that's what it was alluding to.
So on this tape recorded call that we listened to yesterday, had he alluded to that fantasy previously, or was that the first time he brought it up with you?
No, I first learned about it early in our friendship in 2006.
He brought it up. in
Sorry for
2006.
the noises. I'm going to mute myself.
I want to show you, if I may approach, Your Honor.
Yes.
What's in marked as Exhibit 391. Do me a favor and take a look at this exhibit, see if you recognize it.
Drew, if you're still watching, we are actually watching this trial in preparation for the Kouri Richins trial, which begins on Monday. It's kind of like a lull time. So to answer your
And what is it?
It's the longer
comment.
text message on that same day right before the one you just showed me.
Thank you.
So it's one you're referring to moments ago?
Yes.
What's the name? 391?
No objection.
You want to submit it?
And so we're clear, Ms. Arias, before we begin to discuss this. In your recognition of this, was this, we have different pictures of it, but was this part of one long text message?
Yes, it was.
And 5-2 that we see there, we're talking also May 2nd
Yes, same day.
and 2008.
Yes.
He says that this photo shoot is going to be one of the best experiences of your life and his. And he talks about all the pictures he's going to take of you. Was this doesn't mention Little Red Riding Hood, so I just want to be clear. Is this what we're talking about?
Yes, that was the only photo shoot kind of thing that was planned at that time that was of the nature that he's referring to in this.
Okay. And he says the progressiveness of it from the very clean to the very dirty and everything in between. What did that mean to you?
The same thing that he explained further in the tape was that he wanted to get different angles, different shots, different positions.
He says a day that has not gone by that I haven't dreamt about driving my shaft and hard into you. Is that a reference to your understanding, is that a reference to what we talked about or what we heard on the tape when he talked about zip tying you to a tree?
I hadn't heard about that because this is the 2nd of May and the conversation was on the 10th, so I didn't hear about the zip tying to the tree until that conversation occurred.
At least I have the same reactions.
He references in this email, I have no desire to think of anyone else in my scandalous fantasies. Is this a reference to Little Red Riding Hood or is it a reference to other fantasies to your understanding?
My understanding is that he's saying he doesn't want to fantasize about anyone else except me, but he said that to a lot of girls, so.
Stay preemptive. Asking.
You found out that when he was dating you, he was dating Lisa Anders and Mimi Hall, right?
I wouldn't say we were dating, but I guess we acted like that.
Okay, you're right. I should say when you were having sex with him, he was dating those two other girls, right?
Yes.
He talks in here and in the tape about fantasizing about you and getting himself off on many occasions. To your understanding, is that a reference to him being by himself or a reference to these phone calls, this phone sex you were having with him?
I assumed it was a reference to by himself.
He also says in this message, you are the ultimate slutty vet. What did that mean to you? Is there some history behind that?
Yes.
What's that history?
Sometimes he would call me that when we were having sex.
Is that one of those things that made you feel special, or how did you feel when he would refer to you as a slut in bed?
Well, he wasn't saying it as an insult, so I just felt, I don't really remember how I felt, but I just knew that he was enjoying himself.
He says he wants to send one down your throat and another on your face. What did that mean to you?
Oral sex and,
Ejaculating in you?
yeah, yes.
He also says you're going to get taken like you have never been taken before. What did that mean to you?
We were always trying to top ourselves, like go a little bit farther than the last time, and usually he would come up with some great ideas, so most of the time I was game for it.
Most of the time you're what?
Game.
Okay. But how about feeling like you've been raped, but you enjoyed every delightful moment of it? Did you want to feel like you were raped?
No.
Good afternoon.
So you're accurate here. He also says, you'll rejoice in being a whore. That sole purpose in life is to be mine, to have animal sex with, and to please me in any way I desire. Was it your ultimate goal in life to be Mr. Alexander's whore?
No.
Based on what you said before, you were interested in the fond and affectionate feelings you got from him being happy, right?
Certainly.
Not being his whore.
Well, I mean, that wasn't like how I would put it, but that's
That's how he put it, right?
well, I mean, sometimes I wouldn't enjoy like being with him, so
Were you willing at this point in time in your life, in May 2nd, 2008, to have animalistic sex with him
Probably.
and please him in any way he desired?
Well, there would have been some limits, but mostly yes.
And this was after the abuse and after you moved away, you were still willing to do this for Travis, if that's what he wanted, right?
Yes.
You were still willing to be tied to a tree, if that's what he wanted. Is that fair to say?
I'm not sure I would have gone for that, but I let him entertain the idea.
He also asks or talks about him doing anything
I know.
that you want him to do. In this part of the text message, can you see that?
Yes.
Were you going to ask him to tie you to a tree?
No, not that.
You're going to ask him to ejaculate down your throat and on your face?
I don't know that I would have asked, but I probably would have gone for something like that.
You didn't really have interest in Mr. Alexander as a quote unquote sex slave, did you?
No, I didn't look at him like that.
Did you want him to be designed for your most vile and lustful pleasures?
No, I don't think any of my pleasures were vile, but maybe lustful, and I didn't expect him to be designed for that.
Why, and this was happening within a day or so of you having conversations or text messages with Mr. Burns. And it sounds like there was a budding, I think we use the word budding romantic interest with Mr. Burns. Why, given this budding romantic interest, are you still entertaining Mr. Alexander's interest?
I still have feelings for Travis, and it was just something that we were familiar with, comfortable with, and I think the comfort came from the familiarity, and it's just something we continue to do.
Okay. Before we move from this time period of your life, I want to show you what's been marked. Exhibit 413, 414, and 415, and entered. I may approach this.
You may.
Do you remember seeing those photos previously?
Yes.
I think it's hilarious that no one warned me how bad this was going to
Can you
be.
explain this photo to us when it was taken? Oh,
Intense.
I'm sorry. This is exhibit 415.
I believe that was taken on Main Street or Broadway. I think it was Oregon Street. It's taken on Oregon Street in Wairika, right up front of her dad's office.
And who is that?
My friend Heather.
And when was that taken?
It would have been after I moved to Wairika. I don't remember the exact date. Sometime in the spring, I think.
And your hair there, I'll let you describe the color. What color would you describe?
Why are we talking about her hair again?
Brown, medium to dark,
Okay.
light to dark. Maybe.
Secondhand cringe.
Let me show you what's been marked as exhibit 413. Who's that with you in the photograph?
It's my little sister.
Do you remember when this was taken?
We were laying on my bed and just goofing off. And we're on my,
They look just alike.
Do you remember when?
after I moved to Wairika, that's at my grandparents' house.
I didn't notice that last time.
Was this around the time of your phone call with Mr. Alexander?
It would have been somewhat contemporaneous.
You said a few disparaging things about your sister during that phone call. What did you mean by that? You said she was stupid. Can you explain?
Yeah. I wasn't aware at the time that she had a drug addiction and she was an alcoholic. And she was only
Yeah.
17 and she was also coming out of an abusive relationship that she was hiding from the whole family. So I didn't know any of those three problems. So I thought her behavior was
Damn.
off. She was kind of out of it most of the time. So I thought that's just how she was because I wasn't aware that she had those problems.
And it appears to me in this photograph, I would describe the hair color is various shades of brown. Is that what you would say?
Yes.
Let me show you what's exhibit 414. Do you remember when this was taken?
Yes.
When was this taken?
In the spring, also 2008.
Who's that with you in the photograph?
That's my parents' dog. Her name is Jewel.
And it appears your hair is brown in these photographs.
Yeah, it's was kind of from maybe dark blonde or light brown to dark brown.
When did you dye your hair brown?
I don't remember the exact day, but it's in text messages. It was while I was still in Mesa.
Moving back to, or forward for a minute to June 4th. Earlier, we saw photographs of you with brown hair. Or excuse me, on June 4th, we saw pictures of you in brown hair earlier in this trial. Did you change your hair color from this photograph until the time you got to Travis's house?
Trying to remember because I dyed my hair twice, and the first time it didn't take, that was in Mesa, so I did it again. But it was already dyed by then because it was not that dark until the second time. So
Okay. You didn't go blonde?
I wouldn't have been able to go back to blonde.
Why not?
Well, I had been platinum blonde for about almost 5 years at that
Her
point.
hair
so
would have
as you
fallen
can see, my
out.
natural hair color is pretty dark, and when you strip away all that hair color, the shaft of the hairs, it changes it. I don't exactly know. I'm not a cosmetologist, but
It would have gone brassy.
Deposit dye onto the hair again. It not only takes, but it sucks it up like even more. So it's now almost like staying in a way that you can't remove it. I heard that you can actually strip it back to blonde, but by doing that to my hair, what it was, I wouldn't have really had hair left. It would have just broken. up.
Yeah, it would have been a total fucking disaster.
I'm in a home with 4 cosmetologists right now. So yeah.
Serious, I inadvertently gave you the wrong exhibit earlier. I'm going to now hand you, if I may approach, Your Honor, with exhibits 407 and 423. I'm going to ask you if you recognize these exhibits.
I'm not reading the chat right this moment in case you guys are saying something. I'm trying to change something in my studio.
You mentioned just a moment ago that you dyed your hair brown in Mesa and that there was reference to that in one of the text messages. Would it refresh your recollection to take a look at these exhibits and determine if such a text was in there?
I'll look for it. It's not really in order.
Hello.
I think I found it. Yeah.
Okay, and having refreshed your recollection with the document, when did you dye your hair brown?
Well, it says
Refresh recollection, she can just give us the date.
If you could advise us what day, based on looking at that, you dyed your hair back to brown.
yes, I would say it was on 3/20/08, but it says 3/21.
Oh my God. Juan. I hope the judge is just like beating him. His objections just have me like all over. Okay. I'm making it so that only subscribers can comment. So if you aren't a subscriber
No,
to
I
my
didn't.
channel, you're going to need to be. Just I'm letting you know now.
No, you.
So now
no,
it's
I
great
didn't.
time to like and subscribe, please and thank
Based on the
you.
review
It's
of the
free.
document. I'm not telling us what the document said, but based on your review of the document,
That was like a
what
bail
day
threat.
did you dye your hair from blonde to brunette?
Would have been in the evening on the 20th of March.
And since that time, you've never gone back to blonde. Is that correct?
Who the fuck
Well,
cares?
this first time it didn't take very well, so I
Okay.
took more time. It was like a, I don't know how to describe it, like a kind of like a very brown, sort of medium brown. It's not what I was going for. I wanted it darker.
All right. Now, we've spoken earlier about, and some references have been made to your communication with Mr. Alexander. It wasn't just in person, it wasn't just by phone, verbally, you also communicated through text messages and other forms of internet chat. Is that correct?
Yes.
In these so we have a better sense of your relationship, everything that led up to June 2008. Was he assertive and aggressive with you in these emails, in these text messages?
Very much authoritative,
Very much what?
assertive, aggressive, and authoritative.
Do you recall some of the things he said to you in these text messages? And if you need a moment to refresh your recollection, you certainly can.
You're not talking about the instant messages? You're talking
No, right now let's talk about the text messages.
Okay.
Without reading what he said, do you recall some of the things he would call you?
Judge,
Oh.
could you just give us the date? That we can tell us the date and whatever she's going to say that she's refreshed about.
The objection to that.
Judge, her recollection of what she doesn't have to give a date and time just to testify is not an appropriate objection.
Objection, my recommendation.
We should give the date prior to indicating the statement.
Okay, I'll find it.
Who does boo you, me or her? Allegedly, I do not have a doppelganger, so I don't know what I was talking about. Allegedly.
The one that I remembered was on
Let me just check if there's a date.
5/26/08.
Got you. Got you.
Well,
What did he call? What did he say to you on 5/26/08?
he called me, well, he said I look like a pure whore.
Oh,
And that was on 5/26/08.
Yes.
wow.
And do you understand why he called you that? Was he upset? Something of that nature?
Yes. Well, he was upset about a lot of things that day, but there was a specific reason he called me that.
Why he called you a whore?
That's funny.
He found a comment that I left on another friend's page on his Facebook, on one of his photos.
And this, you said another friend's page. What are you referring to?
On his Facebook page, the guy had a photograph up and I left what I thought was a funny comment on it.
Do you recall what the comment was?
Yes, it was a reference to the movie Anger Man. It's a comedy with Will Ferrell. And can I explain the context?
What do you, well, let's say, first of all, what was the comment?
I put, are those man boobs or are you just ripped?
And this was the comment. Travis was mad at this comment and called you a whore because you said you made a movie reference.
Yeah, it was a joke about the movie, from the movie.
Was there other discussions with him that day? Be they, specifically May 26th, be they verbal or written discussions?
There were these text messages and also a chat conversation and a phone conversation that followed.
Is this a chat conversation we heard in evidence earlier where he calls you a three-hole wonder
Yes,
and a slut
yes,
and a whore?
yes, and many other things.
What other things do you recall him calling you during that conversation?
Calls me a bitch. He tells me I'm worthless and he tells me I'm shit.
And to your understanding, this was about an Anchorman reference posted on a Facebook page.
That was not one of many convoluted subjects that he was angry about.
Was there other things he was angry at you about?
Yes,
that
Bye,
day?
Matthew.
To your understanding,
Have a
what were
good
those
one.
things?
he was angry because I told him I would drop the subject of him getting help for his stuff and
What do you mean it's stuff?
his sexual problems. And well, we agreed to drop it as long as he got help. I didn't really want to bring it up anymore, but after he made that comment about sodomizing a little girl on the phone, then I was I was concerned that he wasn't making any progress. So I sent him another of the same little stack of pamphlets that I grabbed, and I mailed it to him without telling him. I just dropped it in the mail because after that phone call, it concerned me. And he blew up over that and some other things also.
Some other things. What other things?
I had missent a text message to his phone. It was supposed to go to Steve Carroll. And the nature of that text message was that, because Travis had my Gmail password and he was getting into it. And so Steve and I were chatting on this and it created a fight when Travis found the conversations. So I sent Steve Carroll a text message. I meant to send him a text message saying, hey, let's use my Hotmail for now or something like that. Because someone has my Gmail password, unfortunately it happens to be an ex-boyfriend. And it was kind of a long explanation and I went to hit send and could see it was 2 messages on my phone and it goes through 1 and then 2. And as I was sending it, I was going to Travis Alexander and I was like, oh crap. So I hit cancel as fast as I could and it canceled the message, but the first one made it to him and that was enough to piss him off. So he accused me of being a liar because I wasn't telling him about what was really going on with Steve and I, even though we've never met. And then there was, and so it just seemed to compound because there was Abe and then there was Steve and John Dixon and all these people. And then I was very angry about all that stuff.
John Dickhead.
You mentioned Abe. That's a reference to whom?
Abe Abdelhadi?
Since you brought up Abe, if I could approach again, Your Honor, with Exhibit 438. Take a look at that and see if you recognize that.
Yes,
What is that, Ms. Arias?
this is an email I composed to Abe on February 18th, 2007. I composed it at Travis's behest and then sent Abe the email and also forwarded Travis a copy afterward because he wanted to read it.
Move to exhibit number 438.
Judge, may I court witness on this one?
You may.
If there's an objection.
With regard to this, it says subject forwarding our friendship, correct?
That's correct.
And it does say that it's from you, right?
Yes,
And it does give a date, doesn't it?
yes.
And it does say that it's to Travis Alexander, doesn't it?
The forwarded emails.
No, it doesn't say that. It says to, doesn't it?
Objection, Your Honor. This is beyond board arguing the witness. This is cross-examination. You can wait his turn.
Take a look at exhibit 438 and see who the to line is to.
To travis.alexander@gmail.com.
This isn't, and there's underneath there.
I was like,
you know
was
what
I
it
on
stands for?
mute?
Line carbon copy.
You just told us, ma'am, that this was composed at Mr. Alexander's behest, right?
Yes.
And that you sent it to Mr. Abdel Hadi, right?
Yes.
And that you sent a copy to Mr. Alexander, right?
Afterward, yes.
You didn't do it at the same time, is that what you said? Ma'am, isn't it true that what happened is that you actually,
It wasn't important, but thank you for letting me know.
Your Honor, I'm gonna object. He wants to say this is cross-examination. But the foundation for this exhibit is made, and we move for submission. He's already explained.
Okay, so I was saying that I feel like he's overstepping. This doesn't feel like voir dire. This feels like a cross-examination. Like he's just getting a little antsy on the bit and wants to get to the race, but he's gonna have to wait his turn. I guess it's a good time because we do have some new viewers.
Before you forwarded this email to Mr. Alexander.
To like and subscribe, please.
objection says the testimony isn't forwarded, it's sent to Mr. Alexander.
This email was a forwarded email, correct?
Yes,
To whom was it originally sent before you forwarded it to Mr. Alexander?
I first composed it and sent it off to Abe Abdel Hadi.
And do you remember approximately, do you remember when that was?
I believe the date was February 18th, 2007.
So the same day that you forwarded to Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Okay. I move to admit exhibit 438.
Yes.
Why did you write this letter to Mr. Abdel Hadi?
Travis was giving me a hard time about us remaining friends. He felt that there was too much history between us because we had gone on one date.
And this reads a bit like a breakup letter. You make the comment that what matters to me is how that I am accountable for, what matters to me is how that which I am accountable for would make Travis feel.
I wasn't
Let's
wrong.
see what paragraph.
I'm looking at the paragraph here, beginning with the word what.
Okay.
What do you mean by that?
I just wanted to put, well, Travis and I already become official. Well, I guess I just call it official because it's when we decided.
Facebook official.
So I wasn't dating Abe during this time, but I was still his friend, and it's very common at the pre legal events to hug associates that you know, kind of like we're all a big family. So Travis was not comfortable with me hugging Abe. He had said that his friend Chris called him, and told him that he saw me hugging Abe at one of the Super Saturdays in Anaheim. And it made Travis uncomfortable. And then I thought to myself, would I have done that? Would I have hugged Abe if Travis were with me? And I realized I wouldn't have. So then I realized, well, that means I'm acting differently in front of Travis than I would otherwise. And I didn't like that I didn't want to be that way. So I decided I wanted to conduct myself.
Oh my
if
God.
Travis
This was,
were with
I
me.
brought this blanket with me to Florida.
I'm a little confused. When we go to the
I
paragraph,
think we all are.
you said, when we hugged at the Grove a few weeks ago, my intention was nothing more than to warmly greet a friend and business associate. Right?
Yes.
That's what it says? What would be wrong with that? In your mind, how about let's start?
There was nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
this
I was
is
in the wrong.
funny.
I realized it made Travis uncomfortable or unhappy.
So because it made Travis uncomfortable and unhappy that you hugged a friend and business associate, you were encouraged by Mr. Alexander in order to avoid his wrath to write this letter, right?
Okay, guys, look at what Christine just said, because I think that it's important to recognize other people's perspectives, especially as first-time viewers. And I appreciate you being vulnerable enough to say that. Girl, just you wait.
she is a whole different flavor of crazy. Like Baskin Robbins will never come close. Nope. Nope. No way.
Please state.
Now
In order
I
to
have to
avoid
go get
Mr. Alexander getting mad, raising his voice,
You're
and
at
doing
my
that shape. Is
nightstand.
that why you wrote this letter?
No, because I wasn't shaking it at that point. I'd only seen this draft one time. Actually, I haven't seen it. I heard it over the phone.
Okay.
I just wrote it more so that he would feel better about my interaction with Abe and so that Abe was on the same page as me so that he didn't take any offense when I was less warm and friendly for him.
Why? You just told us a minute ago
Oops.
that you didn't think there was anything wrong with hugging a friend or business associate at the Grove. Travis did. Why was his feelings on the issue more important to you than yours?
I felt maybe it was just not a good way to look at things at that time, but I used to believe that when you're in a relationship, the other person's feelings should take precedence.
Is that what you mean when you say his happiness is of cardinal significance to me and his feelings opinion I value more greatly than both?
Yes.
The next paragraph begins with, I didn't write this email to expound upon my secret worship Travis agenda. What does that mean?
Because it sounds throughout the email like I'm putting him on a pedestal, and I really was, but that wasn't really the reason for the email. So that's not, it was kind of just a joke, but that's why I wrote that.
And you also write in this email, I think you're a great person who has never had a single bad intention towards me, and I appreciate all the time you've taken to impart your knowledge, perspectives, and experiences. You didn't hold any ill will to Mr. Abdulhadi, right?
No.
You didn't want to kick his ass in the bathroom, like we heard Mr. Abdulhadi. As it relates to your understanding, I know we talked, is this part of the conflict between Mr. Alexander and Mr. Abdulhadi?
Yeah, that's one component of the whole conflict regarding that subject.
I cracked myself up. I literally
Did you
have
ever
it.
ask Travis to write a
Mute
a
myself.
similar letter to the woman who was hugging him in Oklahoma City?
No, I would never have done that.
Why not?
I didn't like the way it felt when he asked me to end my friendships. So I wouldn't have done that for him. And I've never done that with any of my boyfriends.
Did he ask you to end other friendships with male friends?
Yes.
Could you describe that for us?
Yes, he didn't want me to be friends with John Dixon.
And so we're clear, Mr. Dixon was the gentleman brought up in the tape we heard yesterday?
No, not in the tape. He was the one that we fought about prior to our leaving for House Supply.
And he was just a friend, right?
Just a friend. Well, there was sort of a romantic interest there, but it wasn't anything that I would let blossom because he wasn't a member of the church.
Were you encouraged or motivated by Mr. Alexander to write a letter like this to Mr. Dixon?
Yes, not, I think it was quite as long, but there was a similar letter written.
She was hardly a member of the church.
Was it humiliating to you to write these letters?
It was awkward. I just tried to write from my heart.
And aside from Mr. Abdulhadi and Mr. Dixon, were there other males to which Mr. Alexander wanted you to end your friendship?
I can't recall. He was just hostile about most interactions I had with guys, but those two stand out because he actually wanted me to stop being friends with them.
Okay. And you did?
In Oklahoma City, well, almost. In Oklahoma City, he demanded that I call Abe right then and there that same night that he saw him and I talking and end our friendship. So I called, I was trying to think of some alternative or something he'd be happy with, some kind of compromise, and I couldn't come up with anything. So I reluctantly called him with that in mind, and Abe did most of the talking. He's very chatty. And the more he talked, he seemed kind of level-headed, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. It seemed confrontational or a little bit bold for me to say, hey, let's stop being friends, and unnecessary at the same time. So what I did instead is I just made a promise to myself that I wouldn't make any effort to contact him at all as long as Travis and I were together.
And this was in Oklahoma City. I want to be specific, as we mentioned a couple different conferences. What year was that?
That was March 2007, Oklahoma City.
And just so we're clear, you went to Oklahoma City with Mr. Alexander in March of 2007 and March of 2008, is that correct?
Yes, both.
And when you went in March of 2008, this was subsequent to a history trip, correct? Or did you just go?
Yeah, it was all the same trip. We hit all the church history sites first and went to convention.
Did Mr. Alexander, well, let's talk about this. Did Mr. Alexander ever encourage you to end friendships with women?
Yes.
Could you describe that for us?
Yes, he didn't like my friend Rachel. One of the only close friends I had in church. I met her in Palm Desert. She went to the same branch. The branch is the same thing as a ward. They just call it a branch when it's a smaller number of members in the group. So it was a branch in Palm Desert. She was part of that, and our friendship blossomed. And
Is this the same Rachel you lived with when you moved to Mesa?
yes, that's when I moved in with.
Oh, well, that's awkward.
And to your understanding, why did Mr. Alexander want you to end your friendship with Rachel?
He became hostile not toward her because he didn't interact with her a lot, but in conversations. After I had a conversation with him, which came after she and I had a conversation that we need to go to our bishops.
Yourself and Rachel had a conversation about going to the bishop. Could you, what does that mean, or could you just explain that to us?
Yes, my understanding is when you're a member of the church, most things, if we're all sinners, is the idea, nobody's perfect. So you repent. And a lot of times that stays between you and God and within your heart. And, you go through your own repentance process until you feel like you have repented sufficiently. But when there are certain
I wasn't on that.
sins that are more egregious, it is recommended that you go to your bishop so that he can counsel you and guide you toward back to the straight and narrow, in other words. And so sexual sin is definitely on that list.
So your conversation with Rachel then related to sexual sin?
Yes.
And was this the same conversation you referred to a while back about where you told her you were having oral sex with Travis?
Yes.
Okay. And did Travis want you to go to the bishop with this information?
No.
And would I be correct in assuming then that Travis wanted you to end your friendship with Rachel because she encouraged you to go to the bishop?
He was just hostile about her afterward. I don't really know the reason.
Okay. Aside from Rachel, did he want you to end your friendship with anyone else? Any other females, excuse me?
Nobody comes to mind. I want to say yes, but I can't think of anybody.
Okay. Getting back to the text messages, you mentioned that on May 26th, he called you a whore. Moving back in time, were there other text messages where he called you names?
When I was looking through these just now, it seemed like there were more like complaints or accusations of things that I did wrong.
No, that wasn't my question. Apart from calling you names, if I heard you correctly, you said there was accusations in these text messages. Is that what you said?
Accusations and complaints about just things that he felt I did wrong or things that didn't please him.
Okay. Let's start with accusations, and then we'll work our way back to the things you did wrong. And if they're one and the same, so be it. What were the accusations he made against you in text messages? And if you need a minute to look, please do.
Okay. There was a bunch in here.
Sorry, guys. Right now, I'm looking for my keywords
I
that
need
I
to
used
check
from
my
yesterday.
schedule and see what time I'm gonna go live tomorrow. I don't know, this whole
How many examples you want, because it's full of them.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please pick up
Perfect.
3:20. We'll start promptly at that time. Please remember the admonition, you are excused.
3:30 seemed to have worked well today, so we'll probably do that again tomorrow. Do you guys ever wonder what they eat in court, or what like the defendant eats for lunch? Because I wonder that all the time. Like, do they bring like a lunch from jail, or do her attorneys feed her?
I still don't know that.
Does she go back? She goes back into custody during lunch, right? So like, what is her lunch situation? I've thought about this way more than a normal person probably should. If anyone knows, holler. What time is it here? It is 8:19. We're going till 9.
It is 4:40.
My husband brought home pizza.
I ain't got no husband here.
I like your papadori. You have a pretty papadori, LB.
Talking to someone in the chat.
Crafty girl, what kind of crafts do you like?
Please be seated. The resolution of the presence of the jury, the defendant, and all counsel. Mr. Nerman, you may continue.
Thank you. Ms. Arias, before we delve too far into the text messages, I neglected to ask when you were.
I have one more question. If you guys could type it in the chat, whether you're watching right now or on replay. How did you guys find me? Was it another creator? Have you already followed me in the past? Did I come up on your For You page on YouTube? Or was it a different stream of?
I was asking these questions because this is the very first time I got more than like 10 viewers at a time. not okay. I'm grossly underestimating. But I had a few hundred on this stream and I didn't know why. And it was this stream. And after this stream, I was averaging like, by the time I would log off, 25,000, anywhere from 25,000 to, and we're talking average, like 40,000 views per stream. So this was kind of the stream that started it all. And then I went on vacation and I've had to like rebuild. So I appreciate y'all being here. Please make sure to like the stream and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.
Social media, that would really help me. Thank you.
You were talking about your friendship with Rachel Blaney and her suggestion that that you go to the bishop. Did you have a conversation with Travis about her suggestion?
Yes, and just for the record, it's Rachel Bennett. Sorry.
Bennett, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It was Rachel Bennett.
What's that?
It was. I think she's divorced.
Right. You have this conversation with Rachel and you talked to Travis about it. And based on your conversation with Rachel, it sounded like you wanted to go to the bishop. Is that accurate?
I felt it necessary at that point based on what Rachel told me.
Did Travis want you to go to the bishop?
No.
What was your understanding of the reasons that he did not want you to go to the bishop?
He had this problem before. It was embarrassing to him, and he did not want to go to his bishop. I offered, that's okay, I'll just go to mine. And that's when I learned that if I go to my bishop, there's a high potential that his bishop, my bishop would call his bishop. And
Yep.
call into the bishop's office.
They would.
Why would that? What was your understanding of what problems that would create for him?
I wasn't sure. I just know that he and Deanna had their temple regimens taken away at one point. That's what he told me, because of the same activities.
What was your understanding of Mr. Alexander's, for lack of a better way of putting it, status in the church?
Wow.
Well, I was actually real nervous about talking to him because he baptized me.
She's explaining.
In order to baptize, you have to hold a priesthood. He was a holder of the Melchizedek priesthood, which is a greater priesthood. So my understanding of it at that time was that when you hold a priesthood, you're delegated with a certain authority to act for God. He had read the Book of Mormon 23 times at that point. He could quote hundreds of scriptures, maybe more from memory. He knew all the doctrine through and through. At least I believe he did, including what Mormons refer to as deep doctrine, which are types of doctrine that aren't immediately shared with non-members, if at all, and they aren't immediately shared with new members either. But maybe eventually, depending on their progress in the church. And I mean, he wore his temple garments. He went to the temple. He'd been a church member for over a decade. He baptized me. It just seemed like he was a lot farther along in his knowledge and authority in the church than I was. I hadn't even been a member for a year at this point, and a year is a significant milestone in the church.
How so?
After being a member for a year, if you've lived worthily for that year, you are eligible to enter the temple.
So when you understand that you felt as
So
though his
embarrassed.
knowledge was so much greater than yours, so his decisions on these issues or his beliefs on these issues were more informed than yours?
I believed he was superior to me in all matters of our mutual religion, and I understood his embarrassment, and I also understood, well, I believe that he understood where the line should be drawn as far as the law of chastity goes, and that, I don't know, I mean, we didn't go all the way like a few days before, so I knew I had to cross that line, but I knew for certain, all the other things aside, but I didn't want to cause any problems for him.
So after you had this discussion about telling the bishop, you wanted to, he didn't, and you did. Is that accurate?
Well, I can't even say I wanted to. I felt like I had to. It's not like I was looking forward to it.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Because white
Getting back to the
buffalo,
text
it has
messages,
me
You've
blushing.
had a chance to look at them a little further. Rather than going backwards, perhaps we'll go back in time and move towards 2008. Earlier during your testimony, we saw a couple pictures of that you testified were pictures of Mr. Alexander's penis that he had sent to you. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Sharp turn.
Having reviewed those text messages, are there other times in which he sent you pictures of his penis for erection?
Yes.
And do you remember when those were, having looked at the text messages? And if you need to refresh your recollection, just let us know.
Yes, they would have been February 2008.
Okay. And the messages you see, are those just the verbiage, or are there more pictures associated with those text messages you have before you?
There are pictures associated with these text messages, but the pictures aren't here, just the text.
Okay. How often did Mr. Alexander, well, we've heard of 2 occasions when he sent you a picture of his penis.
He is.
Were there
or
other occasions when he
was.
did that?
There were other occasions.
Do you remember how many more?
Several, not tons, but there were many times.
What was that?
I mean, I couldn't count.
Okay.
Somewhere around 10, I mean, over 10, under 20. I'd say.
Okay.
I wonder where maybe
Did you
his-
ever request these pictures?
Sometimes.
Why?
I requested pictures of him, but not his, that.
Girls never want to see that. Sorry.
Narcissistic penis?
Oh, yeah, well, in public, yeah.
Okay. You never requested pictures of his penis, but he sent them to you. At the same time, and when you read some of these text messages, were there times when he would request pictures of you via text message?
Yes.
And having reviewed some of those text messages, and if you need to take a look at it, just let us know. When did those requests happen?
They happened many times, but these text messages show there was one on February. February 20.
yeah. I still stand by that. Girls just don't ask for those
Now,
photos.
looking at February 5th, 2008,
25th.
Huh?
25th.
25th, excuse me, 2008. There are
Like, I'm blushing. I
a
don't
series of messages.
know things.
Well, let me ask you this. When you look at these messages, whose phone are these
Gotta blow my nose.
based on? When a message says incoming, does that mean incoming to your phone or incoming to Mr. Alexander's phone?
It would be incoming from Travis's phone, like a message he received.
And on the 25th of February 2008, it appears there were numerous text messages that day. Would that be fair to your recollection?
Yes, we were going back and forth for the whole weekend, I think.
For
Almost,
what?
almost the whole weekend.
Shut up, Zacharina.
If you look at those messages, one could get the impression that you were texting Travis and he wasn't texting you back. To your recollection of events, is that accurate?
No, that's not accurate.
Are there text messages that you sent Mr. Alexander that are not included in
That's a
this,
fake
in the data that is
picture
before you?
photo.
Yes, I was responding to him and he was responding to me back and forth for this entire thread, but all of his they must be deleted because they're not here.
You said, before we get into the content of some of these, you said that you were going back and forth that weekend. Was there something going on that weekend between you and Mr. Alexander that isn't reflected in these text messages?
Yes, well, it's not very detailed in the text messages.
Okay, since it's not, please provide us that detail. Was there an argument? Was there a vacation? What was going on in the February 25th, or I guess it was a weekend? What was going on that weekend?
Well, it started as an invitation. He was going to take me somewhere I got some articles of organization.
All right, Zach wants to rumble. Oh, hold on. Rikaki, you can tell him, I call him that, contacted me on X, Zach. And I about fainted. Nick Ricada challenged me in a comment, in a tweet. And I actually screenshot it. And I sent it to everyone I know. And I was like, look, Nick Ricada, the Nick Ricada, thinks that he is more chaotic than me. And if you know LawTube, you know this name. He is like the grandfather of chaotic LawTube. But, as I told him yesterday, once he's ready to skip over the foreplay of sending each other back messages and invite me on the show, he'll learn very quickly that I might be the opening act, but I have headliner energy. And he has met his match. Okay, we can continue now. But if you see Nick Ricada, tell him I said, what's up? Street's been talking. Still waiting.
For him to start an LLC, and he wanted to do all the footwork for it, and he would pay to have it published. And so he said, by doing that, I want to take you out to dinner to this place that you really love. And he didn't want to tell me what it was. He just said something totally you'd love it. And so it was something he kind of talked up a little, and it wasn't like set in stone, this date, but I guess it was in his mind. Otherwise I would have never taken off because it sounded like a fun date. But instead, I was talking to Gus Searcy, and he was doing a presentation in.
They were
And I went out there for the weekend to see the presentation and go to a few things, just shows and things around in Las Vegas, just a weekend to relax a little bit. And I didn't tell Travis I was going, and he got very upset about it and offended and hurt that he accused me of ditching out on our date.
Okay. So this was the reason for the flurry of text messages then?
I hear you.
No, actually,
Sandra.
because what happened was after that argument, he apologized and I apologized because I felt like, I didn't mean to skip out on the date. I didn't understand that it was censored. So I felt really bad because he seemed very upset about it. And after that, just like almost always, if we're done apologizing, it led to something sexual. And so we started going back and forth on our text messages, and they got dirtier and dirtier and dirtier. And so it was kind of like just foreplay to when I got back to Mesa.
You mentioned, like it always does, it got sexual after an argument. And you mentioned makeup sex before. Why did it get, from your perspective, why did it get sexual after an argument?
Travis had this cute little term called de-stressing, and I thought that was interesting. So it's something we began to, it was like a code word in a relationship. So when he was stressed out, his way to de-stress would be sex. So arguments were stressful, and that was a good way of lasting and feel better after.
By sex, are we including oral sex, anal sex, or vaginal sex?
Oh, geez, Louise.
Yeah, all of the above.
All the above was de-stressing?
Well, whatever the activity entailed that day.
Now, you mentioned you were in Vegas, and from what you told us earlier, you said it became sexual, and you said he was asking for pictures that day?
Yes,
And by pictures, would I be correct in assuming we're talking about nude photographs?
yes.
Always with
When you
her.
received these requests from Mr. Alexander for nude photographs of yourself, where were you?
I was hanging out with us in his motorhome. We were watching The Prestige.
When Mr. Alexander sent you the text messages requesting dirty pictures, did you have dirty pictures as you said? Did you have those on your phone?
No, I didn't keep them on my phone.
You think you're hilarious, Sal,
So-
don't you?
Did the request then involve making a new current picture of yourself?
In order to fulfill the request, I would have had to.
Did you end up fulfilling that request?
I did my best.
And I know it might be embarrassing, but what did you do to do your best?
Oh my God.
Obviously, I'm not going to do anything like that with Gus there. So I went into the bathroom, and it's a motorhome, so it's a very small, cramped bathroom. And he wanted a photo, and the lighting was poor. I just did the best I could.
What did you want a photo of?
On my butt.
So you remove your clothing to take a picture of your buttocks for Mr. Alexander?
Not all my clothing, just my pants.
Okay.
My,
What was that?
You're
just my pants and my underwear.
straight up poor.
Why do you do that?
Because he responded positively or favorably toward those things. So there was incentive in that regard.
Okay. Before we move off the subject, did you fulfill requests like this more than this one occasion?
I love my onion dip.
Can you recall another occasion when you were asked to do this?
I'm drooling. It's the best.
I'm drawing a blank. I mean, I know that was something that happened in a relationship, but I'm drawing a blank.
It wasn't uncommon for you then to
She probably didn't want it by then, Kev.
go off to fulfill that. Is that fair to say?
It wasn't uncommon, but it wasn't
You?
very frequent.
But you never stored these photos on your phone. Is that what you were telling us before?
They got deleted. Yes.
So were they all requests? Did he request that you send pictures of particular body parts on different occasions?
He only requested that specifically that I remember.
How did you feel doing that?
Kind of like a voyeur a little bit. I mean, it wasn't, I don't know. I felt a little awkward. Like if there was a picture that wasn't very flattering, I would delete it, try again, and delete it, try again. And it was like, okay, that one looks, he'll like that one. So I would send it. And it wasn't so much that was uncomfortable, but it was outweighed by the fact that I liked his response in return.
And so when you sent him these pictures, you
That
see
is for Zach.
in these text messages positive responses from him, or are those not present as it relates to February 25th?
His responses are not present, but I did receive positive. Well, they were not angry or negative by any means.
When you say positive response, what are we talking about? And if you need to look back at the entire dialogue of that day, please do so.
Well, I can see that I'm responding to things he said, and we were trying to top each other. His responses aren't here, but there are different things that we're talking about.
Would it be fair to characterize his responses on that day as sexual?
Yes, exactly that.
one of the things that we spoke about earlier
Definitely onion bread.
was,
Yeah.
let me ask you this. Did he send you, looking at these text messages, did he send you other text messages of a sexual nature?
Yes, he did.
Can you recall any of those for us?
There's one in here. I mean, I can find it if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay.
I also brought my Scope mouthwash. Bye, Zach. Thank you so much for your contributions towards this enterprise. Which reminds me, if anyone is
Come
sending
on.
jewels, I won't be able to. I just pulled it up.
Yeah.
So I should be. able
Chicks
to-
never want to see penis pics. Hate to break that to you guys. Ever.
I bet you will.
Christine's a little behind, I can tell. Okay, for real, Jodi? Yeah, I think the girl in the red is the sister, or else the sister-in-law. I think. I could be wrong.
Jodi, let me back up a step and ask you this. Apart from the sexual text messages.
Sorry, hold
let me ask
on.
you this. We talked about, before we completely get off the sexual text messages,
Someone's cell phone is going
did he
off
ever
in
ask
here.
you, ever make reference or request of you to wear your hair in braids in these text messages?
Yes. I remember that.
Do you ever remember him making specific requests to you via text message to wear the Spider-Man underwear?
I remember making requests. I don't know if it was over text or the phone, but I remember responding about them
Do you hear them?
in the text messages.
Okay.
It's like Cougar City outside.
Yesterday, you told us about a trip you made to Walgreens in order to obtain candy that would be used as sexual props. Do you remember sending or receiving a text message related to that?
I remember sending, receiving text messages that night. I don't know if we were referring to Pop Rocks or I think it was more about how I'm not comfortable going into the store. I think I put because I'm dressed like a slut.
Brian who, Miley?
Did Travis ever send you text messages in which he was, and I forget the words you used earlier, so I'm just gonna say that if he was mean to you? in
Yes.
these text messages?
Thank you, Zach.
Recount for us, if you will, times that he was mean to you in these text messages.
Can I look at the text messages? He got meaner after I moved. So, yeah.
I guess you guys can just call me Moneybags now. I'm just watching the squirrel outside my window,
No problem. Don't worry about it.
thinking it has such a better life than Ohio
Are
squirrel.
we really doing the whole like diary search right now? Is that what this is?
Something having to do with prepaid legal.
And was he mad at you or mad in general related to something of prepaid legal?
It appears that he was mad at me because I was stressing him out because I made a comment about not making Players Club, which is monthly qualification. The Players Club is, I don't remember it specifically now, it's been so long, but it was a level of production. They counted certain memberships that you sold or recruits as counters. And so a certain number of counters each month got you into Players Club.
And I got a little confused there. He was mad at you for commenting on how he didn't get into Players Club? Is
No,
that-
I didn't. He said here I was moaning about it, but I think I just mentioned it. I don't remember moaning about it.
You don't remember what?
He says he was talking about how I was moaning about not making Players Club,
About him not making?
about me not making Players Club.
Yeah,
So
He always made Players Club.
What's that?
He always made Players Club.
And
Erica
that players club is
Walsh.
a level in prepaid legal?
It's more a qualification. It doesn't have to do with your actual level. It can be any level and be in players club or not.
And then Jew.
Okay.
If you know her, you know her.
So he was mad at you for not making players club?
No, he was mad at me bringing up the fact that I didn't make players club that month.
Okay. And that led to him cussing at you
Yes, I hung up because he started swearing.
in general or at you? Was he calling you names? Do you remember what he said?
I don't remember, but he was being very negative toward me and I didn't like listening to it. So I hung up so I didn't have to hear it anymore.
She's looking for a boyfriend, so if
Was
you're
it hard on you to
single,
hang up on him?
Yes, very hard.
Had he hung up on you before?
I think he has. Nothing really stands out, but yeah, I'm sure he has.
When you hung up on him, how did he react? Is that what we see in the text messages? Without telling us what it said, is that what we see in the text messages, his reaction?
Oh,
It's not about hanging up. It's more about just more of the same.
excuse me. You say I look exhausted. I have to take off these headphones because they are so incredibly uncomfortable.
they are.
And I have a mod in here, usually in here, unless
Maybe.
she's helping out with her sick husband. And she usually posts my Venmo and my Cash App information for the headphone fund
I'll do that.
because these are just so incredibly uncomfortable. So if you ever see me like taking off my headphones and just like going like this, it's because I feel bad for my ears. They're like pushed back against my head. All right, let's finish this out.
They're good for the airplane, and
He's
that's
talking
about
about
it,
conversation. He's talking
honestly.
Okay. Was this commentary on your abilities within prepaid legal?
No, it was about, he's accusing me of stressing him out.
So when you brought up your problems to him, he accused you of stressing him out and began yelling at you. Is that right?
Yes, I don't think that's what the conversation was supposed to be about. It appears that I was trying to tell him something that would be to his benefit, not advice, but a piece of information that he could use.
Earlier, you had mentioned, I'm going to draw your attention to 4/8 of 08. And there's a text message there that lasts about or does last more than an entire page at timestamp 1921. Do you see that?
Yes,
Okay. Was that the reference to the argument you had earlier about this person that was Michelle or Mimi or Marie?
it was Marie, but this is a completely new argument about something
Okay.
different the next day.
What is this argument about in the next day?
Jeez.
Before I left his house, the day I pulled out of his house, I wish I could remember what it was because it's sentimental, but he had some kind of drawing or something
Do you hear these?
that he was giving to me. And because he was giving it to me, I asked him to sign it and he signed it and said something nice on it. And then I forgot it as I was leaving. It was just a spacey thing that I did. And he got very upset and accused me of being rude and insensitive and dramatic because I left it. He thought I left it behind on purpose. Like I was trying to tell him something, but it was really just something I forgot to take with me.
And he was upset with you about that for getting it?
Yeah, he was very mad. He thought that
Well, I
because
got-
he signed it now, he can't give it to anybody else. So it's like, and I don't know, I guess because I didn't take it, he thought I didn't want it, but I did want it. I just forgot it.
And I don't understand why he was saying, did you ever explain to him that you just forgot it?
Yeah, I explained extensively here that it was just an honest mistake. I just forgot it. Forgot about it. There were so many other things going on when I was leaving.
That was the day you were having the fight,
Yes.
and he was flipping you off as you were leaving, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's like what I have it
And
now.
I guess I'm a little confused, and maybe you can enlighten us. What was the big deal? Why couldn't it just be mailed to you?
And just so you guys know, I want to say thank you to Zach for the donation because I think I mentioned it yesterday. I have a annual subscription with StreamYard, which is what I use to show this onto YouTube, and it is going to take out its annual cost on Friday of next week, which is $827. So streaming ain't cheap. You got your headphones, you got your gear, you got your streaming service, and people joke that it's a grift, but there are definite costs involved. it ain't cheap. So it's very much appreciated wherever you do spend your money supporting whomever.
You were right up to you when he was coming to Wairika.
I don't know. He mailed other things to me after I moved, and there were plans for him to come to Wairika. It was paper,
She
whatever it
heard me
was. that we turned
talking
over
about
us.
her.
So he felt that it was just another dramatic thing that I did, and
All right, Kev.
I don't know. He was kind of a bully about it.
Kind of a what?
A bully, just more bullying.
I want to move away from the text messages and show you what has been marked as Exhibit 399.
I do not support this channel. I'm just a narcissist that likes my comments read aloud. Thank you so much, Zach. Look at my face. My face was prepared for Zach.
And if I may approach. Take a look at that first, Ms. Arias. See if you recognize that.
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
It's just a little rhyme that I wrote when I was up very late when I sent it to him, just to be silly.
Him being home.
Travis.
And do you recall from looking at that when you sent that particular item?
I sent it on May 19th, 2008 at 3:15 in the morning.
I'm going to move to admit Exhibit 399.
Okay, I know that our numbers are dwindling, but with that being said, I have made the executive decision. If you look at this, I'm pretty sure you can see my screen right now. We have 30 minutes left of this testimony from this day. I would like to finish this testimony so that tomorrow we can go straight into, I believe it is, no, it is day 6 the next day. So yeah, we're going to do that. But yeah, we're going to go a little bit longer. So probably 9:15. If you could do this, I'm sorry for everyone who's heard me say this a million times, but if you are new, hi, my name is Lacey. I would love to gain your viewership on a more consistent basis. If you could please subscribe to my channel because it's free, because I'm a pretty okay person. And if you could like the stream, that would help me tremendously by helping the algorithm get to where it needs to go, to different people. So thanks, guys, and remember to comment. I appreciate it. Let's finish this out. We're going to finish it, call it a night.
No objection.
399 is admitted.
You mentioned you sent this at about 3:15 in the morning. Is that when you wrote it?
Right before that.
Okay.
I just composed it real fast, just being silly.
What's that?
I just composed it really fast, just trying to think of something that would rhyme.
And why did you feel inspired to write a poem to Mr. Alexander?
Same.
Sometimes just a little line will come to my mind that rhymes, so I'll just build on that. And also, he was a good poet too.
He was what?
He was a good poet.
Thank God I'm not a mom.
Judge, rather than display it on the display, request to be published by having Ms. Arias read it.
Maybe so.
Just read your poem. Please.
Do you want me to read the first sentence that's not part of the poem?
No, just the poem, please.
Okay. It
Can we get
says,
back to the
"Thou doth
fact
the
that
mind of the
ladies
Lord, see it
here?
fitting that I should be bored, that I might compose some poetry and send it speedily off to thee. But I think it's that, in fact, if I am bored, then I must act, for it is my own restless mind that has responded this way in kind. And for that boredom of which I speak, I am still grateful, for it's not bleak. I am still happy, for there is much I can still do for it and such, like send an email after 3 and read another book, you see. So here's to wishing you a time that's full of happiness and rhyme. May your days be full of stimulation, and not just in simulation, but in reality, just the way it had to be."
She wrote
How are
that?
you hoping? How are you hoping that that poem would be received?
The same way my previous poems have been received. He expressed gratitude, awe.
That was pretty good.
Usually he complimented me.
In May of 2008, we had talked about some of the things. You mentioned helping him incorporate. You mentioned acting as his maid. You mentioned helping him in his prepaid legal business. When you lived in Wairika, did you help him with any of his philanthropic adventures?
I think you guys scared maybe away.
You're gonna find me approach again? For the record, I'm gonna show Ms. Arias what has been marked exhibit number 406. Please review this entire document to yourself and let us know when you're done.
There's that fucking squirrel, man. He's like right over here. Wait, where'd he go?
Mark, I mean, you're
Oh,
either
on the ground.
nuts or she's just extremely social, because I've had about 3 to 4 people in the chat today say that they've met her, know her. I'm not saying I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm just saying it's quite alarming how many people in my chat have
Squirrel wasn't
had
impressed by me.
interactions with her in real life.
Yes, I remember his email.
What was the subject matter of that email or your discussion?
There were several subjects. Part of it was I was expressing just the discontent that I had in the past about our relationship having never been public, and the
Very
expressing
skinny
my
squirrel.
discontent
Oh,
about the
two.
constant shadow that Deanna always casted, probably unknowingly, over our relationship at that time, and how we had to hide it from her. And he started a website. I started a website with my photography at that time, and he told me that he would post a link to my website on his page, on his website, and I said, I'll do the same for you. And then when it came down to it, he kept stalling and saying, well, I have to talk to Sean, I have to talk to Sean. That was the guy who was helping with his web hosting. And so I kind of got the sense that he didn't want to do it because he was getting pressure from his friends about our friendship, and just different things, a bunch of things. I just felt like I want to just take the pressure off him. Like, if it's that hard to be friends, let's just cool it a little bit. Like, I still wanted to be his friend, but I didn't want him to feel like that our friendship had to be a burden.
And when did you send that email?
May 16th, 2008, a little after midnight,
A little after what?
32 minutes after midnight.
And you sent that to Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
We're gonna go through exhibit 406.
Okay, I gotta show you. They're both on the sides of the trees. Right there and
All
right
right.
there.
This is funny.
This is funny.
This is true.
It's true?
She is not wrong.
Oh my God. Yes, she is.
Juan was disbarred. So was her attorney. Juan, if I'm okay, let's call a spade a
It's
spade,
very
right?
old tree.
I think what Juan did was a lot worse than what her attorney did. But that's just me.
What are we doing here? Come on.
Exhibit 406 is admitted.
Ms. Arias, I want to ask you about a couple of things you said in this email, just so we have an understanding of exactly what you meant in certain areas. I want to begin with the second, the portion of the letter that begins with directly follows "here goes." Okay. You say to Travis, I realize after further introspection why it is that I asked you to give me a little mention in your next post as credit for the task of editing and grammar and typing the link in out. What's that a reference to?
Travis was writing a book on personal development and being a better person.
And from what the sentence would say, then it sounds like you were editing that book, or could you describe that for us?
His friend Katie Barnes had edited and typed the introduction, and he asked if I would edit and type the first chapter.
And you said Katie Barnes, this is the Katie that's referenced here?
Yes.
Okay. And it sounds like, looking at it, you said, it's
With
much
who?
longer, it would make me
Rebecca?
feel good to have a little recognition thrown my way. Were you hurt by the fact that she got recognition that you didn't?
I wouldn't say hurt. I was a little bugged. I mean, the intro was very short, and he wrote special thanks to Katie Barnes, and I thought, that's nice of him. And then I joked actually about it. I didn't think he would, because he, I don't know. But I said, make sure you put special thanks to Jodi Arias just as a joke. And he said, I can't do that.
And what was your understanding of why he couldn't do that?
His friends, the Hugheses, gave him a hard time, and he said that they made his life hell whenever he would talk about our friendship.
So at this point in time, at least at some level then, it wasn't just the sex that was a secret, but it was your friendship altogether.
Yeah, our very association had to be a secret now from then.
Okay. You say, and I'm looking down here with this sentence, it begins with but my, you see that?
Yes.
Where I pointed to? But my cry for a little recognition comes from a place within me that feels it was never adequately gratified and that it thirsted to be validated. Not just as some girlfriend, but as your girlfriend. What did you mean by that?
Well, almost the entire time I'd known him, the extent of our association was a secret. So I just tolerated it. I tried not to let it bother me by not thinking about it. And so when he said, I can't do that, and now we're not even boyfriend girlfriend anymore, and he still can't do that, or claimed he can't, I realized how much it kind of bugged me. I didn't realize it until I was walking to work one day and thinking about the phone call we just had. And so when I got back from work, I composed that email.
It's 5:17, Zach.
Was there ever consideration, this is May 16th, 2008, was there ever consideration to the fact that, you know, we're having phone sex, we're talking, I'm doing this work for him, he still doesn't want to recognize me as his friend. Is there ever a thought in your mind saying, okay, I'm done with this guy, I don't want to be friends with this guy anymore, I don't want to associate with him anymore?
No, I never thought anything extreme like that.
Why would that have been extreme for you?
Well, Travis and I have been through a lot, so I couldn't
This
foresee
is
us, like,
God's time zone.
I couldn't foresee myself completely exiling him from my life. I just wanted us both to be happy, and I wanted things to be cordial between us.
At the first paragraph of this next page, you say that you find yourself now wishing to be recognized as your friend, referring to Travis. But you talk about the recognition within his entire circle of friends. Sounds to me like it was more than just Chris and Scott Hughes.
Yeah, I guess it was. I didn't have anyone specific in mind, but I knew that there were, how do I put it? I guess I knew that, like, he was, I really don't know what I meant by that. I just wanted to be able to be open about our friendship in public and like, hey, we're friends at school, you know,
Okay.
not just all this drama that we had been going through.
You talk about
I know, maybe,
his mode
but I
of
wasn't going to throw
operation
it out there.
with Deanna. Before we go into what you say about it, what do you mean when you say his mode of operation with Deanna?
He had to constantly hide me from Deanna. Even after we broke up, there were times when I was dropping him off at his house after I moved to Mesa, and he said, Deanna's there, make sure she doesn't see your car, park it down the street and drop me off. And I thought, we're not even dating. He said, it won't matter to her. She'll freak out. So, and then when we came back from Oklahoma City in 2008, he dropped me off at a quick stop in the middle of the night in Phoenix because he had to swing by Deanna's house to pick up his dog Napoleon because she was babysitting him. He didn't want me to go with him because he didn't want her to know that we went on a trip together.
Oh,
This, you know, you've spoken a couple different times now about how, you know, he said Deanna would get crazy or she'd be upset or things of that nature. Did you ever see any evidence on Miss Reed's part that she acted in a way that supported the concerns Travis was expressing to you?
I saw something that I thought was kind of odd, but maybe not quite to the extreme. I felt Travis was exaggerating, even though the behavior to me was odd.
Okay. What was that behavior?
At the beginning of October 2006, Travis left for General Conference, which is a twice yearly event that happens in the church where all the general authorities in the church, including the president of the church, get together at the conference center in Salt Lake City, and they give talks and different things. And the whole event happens I think, on Saturday and Sunday, and it is streamed live and broadcast around the world for all church members and non-church members who are curious. The conference center is huge, and there's a new one recently built.
I said hi.
It's somewhat new. And Travis had an opportunity to go to this conference that time with some friends from his church, and unless he traveled to California, he would usually leave Napoleon at home. So he needed somebody to watch his dog because he felt that Napoleon could get lonely. His roommates didn't pay a lot of attention to him. So he asked if I would stay at his house to pet sit for the weekend. And so I did that. And one night, well, the following weekend was when we were going to New Mexico. So I knew that trip was already planned. And I was at his house. I got this chocolate chip cookie recipe from the pastry chef at Quintana to try out this recipe for cookies to see if it was cheap, to see if we could just take a whole bag of cookies on our trip because we didn't have a lot of money, but that would have been a way to just eat partially on our trip. So I'm baking these cookies. I'm sitting down watching TV. Napoleon's sitting next to me on the couch. John Hepworth is there, but he stepped outside. He was on the phone. And, he went to the outside. And then all of a sudden the front door opens, and I thought at first it was John. Napoleon was flying off the couch, barking and running toward the front door. And then I hear a woman's voice, but the lights were turned off in the entryway, so I didn't see who it was. And for some reason I thought it might have been John's wife because he had been talking to her. She lived in Utah, and he couldn't go to Utah for some legal reason at that time. So, but then she came into view and I recognized her as Deanna, and it was kind of awkward. I actually was a little bit scared because of the things that Travis had said about her. And I mean, all the information I had was from Travis and the Hugheses about her, and most of it was negative. So she said hi, and I said, I'd never officially met her or even interacted with her personally. So I said, you're Deanna, right? She said, yeah. And I said, I'm Jodi. She said, I know who you are. And not in a rude way or anything, just kind of just brief. And then all of a sudden she ran upstairs, or she said she ran upstairs into his room and shut the door and stayed in there for about 10 minutes. But by this time, when we were in East Mason, she lived in North Phoenix. I told her Travis isn't here, and she said, I know. So she knew he wasn't home, but she came over to his house and locked on the door and ran up to his room and shut the door and locked herself in there for 10 minutes. So I didn't know what to do. I just sat down on the couch and waited, kept watching TV. And about 10 minutes later, maybe 15, she comes out of the room, comes downstairs, goes into his office and shuts the door there. And I don't know if she locked it or not. I think Napoleon went into the office with her at that time. And I'm thinking, what's going on? So I just waited, and then she came out of the office and walked into the kitchen and looked around, and unfortunately, I didn't see all the recipe down. It was a restaurant recipe, so I had tons of cookies already that I didn't think to refrigerate the dough. So she's looking around, and there's cookies everywhere, and there's more in the oven and more on the tray ready to go in the oven. And I offered her some cookies, and she declined, and she said she was just in town for someone's birthday, and that she just came by because she was looking for a book. And so after that, she left empty-handed.
Okay. And in terms of did Travis comment on Deanna's reaction to that event?
Yes.
Did he lead you to believe that she was upset or angry?
Yes.
Did you see that in her behavior?
No, she seemed friendly. Other than that, other than her behavior, her demeanor seemed kind of normal. Nice.
Sounds similar to the situation when you walked in and Lisa Andrews saw you, right?
Yeah, except Deanna didn't turn and leave. She stayed for a while.
All right. You talk about Travis didn't want to deal with Deanna's interrogations and emotions. You never saw any evidence of Deanna interrogating Travis about this. Is that accurate?
Interrogating Travis about what?
About you or about anything?
I actually saw one incident when we were on our first history trip, or I saw him venting to his grandmother over the phone about the incident.
But not her.
Nothing from her exactly. Directly, no.
You say right here, this paragraph beginning with well. Well, I'm going to make it easier for you. And it looks like you're telling him that you want to kind of end your friendship. Is that accurate?
No, I didn't want to end our friendship. I didn't want him to feel obligated to be my friend in order to serve my feelings. I wanted him to only be my friend if that was his desire to be.
I can't even understand it.
Please.
You say that, in contrast, you weren't private or secretive about your friendship with him. Is that what you're telling us here?
Yeah, there's a typo in the second sentence, but yeah, I was not ashamed to call him my friend.
Yeah,
You
it's
said,
okay.
you even go specifically at the bottom of the page, you say, see, I have no shame in being your friend. Were you under the impression that Travis was ashamed of having you as a friend?
I got that impression from him about the Hugheses.
Oops.
If anyone ever tried to guilt me or judge me, you would put them in their place. You were proud of Travis. You cared about him, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't let anyone say anything negative about him.
In fact, you didn't really like to say anything negative about him or to him, did you?
That's correct.
And this was in May 2008, right?
Yes.
You tell him that you care very much about your happiness and well-being. Still meant a lot to you at that time too, right?
Yeah, I cared about him.
So much so it sounds like you were willing to sacrifice or at least back off of your friendship if it was better for him.
I wasn't sure specifically what that might have entailed, but I wanted him to know that I didn't want him to feel the stress that he might have felt just by being my friend.
You also say, I love you, and I will always be here for you as your friend and confidant. May 16, 2008, you say you love him, right?
Yes,
Do you mean that?
of course.
Did you also mean the part where you say you'll always be here as his friend and confidant?
Yes.
After Mr. Alexander received this message, you recall what the next form of contact was? Did you speak on the phone, text message, email? Do you recall?
When I began composing that email, we were already chatting, and he was already irritated over something. So I told him, I think it was about the subject of the link on his website. So that was another thing that just made me think he doesn't want to be public even about our friendship. So that's when I said, well, I told him, hold on, I'm writing an email. So I wrote out the email. He was upset at the prospect of receiving the email because he's wanted to know why I would send him an email about something that he knows that I know is going to make him upset.
Yeah, we'll get to the murder tomorrow.
Whether or not it makes you upset, you're my friend, and this is something I have to tell you. So I made that email. I didn't think it was very mean or aggressive or hostile, but he took offense to it, and it led to another fight.
Now you say this led to another fight. Was this fight a verbal fight, or was this in some other fashion?
It was just an argument that took place over that same chat conversation, which continued.
And is this the one where he calls you a three-hole wonder and a slut?
No, this is a different one.
Do you recall what he says to you in this conversation?
Not particularly. He was just very upset, mean, and well, not mean, he knows me as he's been or would be afterward, but he claimed that he didn't get what I was trying to say. And he said, "Are you trying to say I should put a link up?" Or I said, "No, that's not what I'm trying to say. Reread it." And he said, "I read it twice and I still don't get it." And I said, "Well, I don't see how more plainly I can explain it to you." So, I mean.
Okay. Did the two of you have a phone conversation after this email was sent?
I clicked out of the window before he could type anything else that was going to be mean. And that made me mad because it was sort of the equivalent of hanging up on him. And we either started texting or talking on the phone, I don't remember which. And it was just a little more of a fight until it tapered off, or we stopped communicating for that time being.
And you say tapered off. You told us in the past that these arguments, disagreements wound up in the end turning to a settlement. Did that happen this time?
I don't remember on that particular one how it ended.
Did you want to do that?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take the evening recess at this time. Please be back tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Remember the admonition. Have a nice evening. You are excused.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, friends, for being here. Oh my gosh. Nothing makes me happier than finishing up the day so I can not use these daggone headphones. I am so, I recognize you had a lot of other places that you could have been at today, but you chose to spend the day with me. So I really appreciate your time and your viewership.
Yeah.
And
All right, I found a new one. Or I found the other one that I wanted. Well, thank you. That is just so nice. That is just so nice and appreciated.
I'm taking pictures of him. We were trying out different poses. We were kind of,
Is it
yeah, we were kind of
friendly?
laughing.
okay?
It was, I don't know, it was a little weird because the background wasn't that great. The water was okay. And we were trying out different poses, and then we were checking the photos and deleting them, and then taking a few more and checking them and going through them and deleting them. And at one point he was sitting and I was taking pictures. I was probably a few feet from the shower so that the water didn't get on the camera. And I was showing him the photos and we were deleting some. And at one point when I went to delete the photos, as I moved the camera, it slipped out of my hand. And it didn't like fall right away. I kind of caught it, and then I caught it like football, like it bounced, and I almost caught it, but it didn't catch it, and it landed on the mat, and then it rolled onto the tile. And
Where were you when this took place relative to the shower?
I was crouched by the shower. I might have been on the mat or on the edge of the mat.
Okay. So what happens after you drop the camera?
At that point, Travis flipped out again, and he stood up and he stepped out of the shower and he picked me up. I was crouching, but he lifted me up as he was screaming that I was a stupid idiot. And he body slammed me again on the tile.
why? Why would he do
Only
that?
a 5-year-old can hold a camera better than I can. He was screaming at me. There was spit coming out, or maybe it was water, but it was getting wet. And when I hit the tile, I rolled over on the side and started running down the hallway. And I don't know why I didn't run out of the room. I ran into the closet because the door was open.
You what in the
Last time I ran
back?
down the hallway,
Boston
I mean,
accent.
and that was another incident in the summer. So I guess I went into the closet. And
What do you mean? Let's talk about that. What do you mean the summer incident? What incident were you referring to?
there was an incident where he was really upset. The whole incident.
Oh yeah, what happened?
The whole one? You want to know everything?
Previous summer in August 2007, I got hired at P.F. Chang's to work, and they needed my social security card, which I didn't keep in my purse because for security reasons, it was packed away. And I was looking everywhere for it, couldn't find it. So I assumed it was in one of the boxes that were in Travis's garage. So I called him I needed the card for the next day for work. After I'd been looking for it, I wanted to come over and look for it there. He said, sure. It was a brief phone call. It was about 11 o'clock at night. And he sounded sleepy, so I thought maybe he was sleeping. I came over. I went into the side, of course, to go into the garage to look for the box. But this time, instead of going into the garage, the door was locked, which was unusual because it's almost always open. So I think no big deal. I start walking around the back of the house toward the sliding glass door, which is never locked because he had installed a doggy door. So the sliding glass door butts up to it, but it doesn't lock. So as I was walking around the house,
You can
I
really
see the
hear
living
when
room
I hit
open,
the
and I
mic.
see this blue glow coming out of the window from the TV. And I was walking toward the glass, and I glanced in, and I noticed two people making out on the couch. And I stopped for a second because I thought that was awkward. And I assumed it was one of his roommates. So I thought, how would I handle that? You know, I thought maybe I'll just walk in real quick and say sorry, and just because I would have to walk past them to get to the garage because it was on the couch. They were on the couch. So I decided I would do that. And then as I was going toward the glass, she stood up and she rehooked her bra, and the guy stood up wiping his mouth, and I saw it was Travis. So we weren't together at this point, and I knew that there were other people that he was seeing or that I was maybe seeing, but it kind of still hurt. So I ran. I didn't go to the I didn't go to my social security card. I just left, and I went home. It was too late to call anybody really, so I just waited till the next day to call my sister, my little sister, but she wasn't home. She lived with my parents at the time. My dad answered, and I told him what happened because he was somebody to talk to. I didn't confide in him often, and he was asking me why I was crying, and so I just told him what happened. And so at that point, I decided I'm just going to go over there and ask him if he's dating someone. That way, I can move on or something.
Whoops.
So I went over to his house, and I went into the house, and he was in the laundry room stenciling stripes down the walls, getting ready to paint them. And I hopped up on the washing machine and sat there, and he came down on the ladder and he gave me a kiss. And I just said it flat out. I said, if you're dating someone, it's okay, you can tell me. And I told him, based on what he had said about Deanna in the past, I said, I won't freak out the way Deanna does, because he had said that about her. And he just thought that was a strange question. And he said, why are you asking me?
How does this, without saying what you said, you mentioned that this correlated to the incident on June 4th. Were you in the upstairs area with Travis after this argument about seeing him with another girl?
Yeah, he just let out a real frustrated scream, and he walked out of the laundry room and palmed the wall really hard with his palm. I mean, not the wall, the door frame of the laundry room, and just went upstairs, and I sat there kind of stunned. I'd only seen this temper a few times at that point. And I heard this thud, this banging, like rhythmic over and over and over, like just it was dull, and something was like hitting something over and over and over. So I jumped off the washing machine to see what it was. He was the only one home. So I went upstairs, went into the bedroom. Like it was getting louder as I got toward the bedroom. And then I turned to look down the hallway, and he's banging his head repeatedly on the linen door closet. And it was awful to watch him do that. And I walked up to him sort of tentatively because he looked unstable, and he was mumbling something under his breath, and he kept saying,
Okay, just what, I mean, you
Hearsay.
mentioned, did you have to run away from him that day?
I finally said his name to get his attention, and he screamed what really loud, and he spun and looked at me like a madman, and it freaked me out. So I ran down the hall, thinking I would just get out of the bedroom, but he caught me right as I reached.
There's a whole lot of running going on.
The carpet caught my wrist and pulled me back, and I was freaking out. Then he calmed down, and he explained to me that she was just a girl that he met in Phoenix, and they probably wouldn't see each other again.
Okay. Moving back to June 4th, before we continue on the story, I want to talk to you about a couple of exhibits. The first being Exhibit 160. You see that? You look at that? Was that a picture that you intentionally took?
No, it wasn't intentional.
Okay. Looking at Exhibit 161. Was this a picture you intentionally took?
No, I didn't take that one.
Showing you Exhibit number 159. To your recollection, is that the last picture you intentionally took of Travis Alexander?
I took it intentionally. I don't know what order they went in.
Okay. When he slams you down onto the ground, after you drop the camera, how do you feel?
I was scared. I was thinking crap because it's everything that I was trying to avoid downstairs. When he started getting mad, I was doing everything I could to avoid that, and I still didn't avoid it. I still screwed it up, and now he's pissed again. So he's freaking out. I'm freaking out. I rolled, like I said, I rolled off to my left and began to run down the hallway, and I could hear him follow. I mean, I could hear his footsteps chasing me.
Were you scared when he was chasing you?
Yeah, I didn't want him to grab me again.
What were you scared that he would do?
who knows, at that point, he had already almost killed me. I wasn't thinking that when he almost killed me before that I was gonna possibly die. I was just thinking I couldn't breathe, no air to like think of before I passed out. But it was later on that I realized that I could have died if he just held on to my neck a little longer. So I didn't want that to happen, obviously. So I ran into the closet and I slammed the door, and I intended to run through the opposite end of the door because it has another exit. And as soon as I got in there and began to run, I remembered where he kept the gun. So I grabbed it. I jumped up on the shelf, kept it on the very top. I grabbed it. And then I ran out the other door as he was opening the door, and he ran, chasing me. And I turned around and pointed it at him so that he would stop chasing me.
Jodi, I want to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 70. Do you recognize that area?
Yes,
What is that?
this closet.
You said that you grabbed the gun.
Hey, please make sure to like the stream. Thank you.
Can you point to us where the gun was?
It's not shown in this picture, but it's at the very top of the shelf, like right here.
Okay, let
But
me
it's
show you.
above that.
Let me show you then what's been entered as exhibit 69. Does this show the area from which you grabbed the gun?
Yes,
Could you point to that for us, Jodi?
it was up here in the corner, kind of up, right up there.
You told us that you knew the gun was there. How did you know that?
I had known he had it. I found it one day when he used to give me projects when I would clean. Sometimes it was the floorboards, sometimes it was light fixtures. And this day it was the closet shelves. I had to pull everything off the shelves and dust it off. So I got onto the top shelf. There was, I don't know if it was shown in that picture, but there's also a seat. So I moved the seat around to stand on it to get up there. And it was up there.
So you told us that you grabbed the gun and got out through the closet, correct?
Yes.
I want to show you what's been marked as exhibit 162. Jodi, how do we look at that picture, please? How do we get to that point in time? What happened between the time you grabbed the gun?
I don't know how that picture was taken.
I still can't figure out what that picture is.
I still can't figure it out.
Between the time you grabbed the
Months
gun
later.
and what we see here, what happened?
When I grabbed the gun, I ran out of the closet. He was chasing me. I turned around and we were in the middle of the bathroom, pointed it at him with both of my hands. I thought that would stop him. If someone were pointing a gun at me, I would stop. But he just kept running. He got like a linebacker. He got kind of low and grabbed my waist. But before he did that, as he was lunging at me, the gun went off.
Let me just say, while I have my two mods in here, this is something that's really important because because it is. Yesterday was my highest sub day ever. By the end of the day, I ended up with 100 more subs. So thank you to everyone who was here yesterday and subscribed. That means so much to me. I also want to thank, people who tuned in because I had the most views that I've ever had. This is difficult to do backwards. Yep. Okay. Well, we ended up with something kind of like a curl, but I ended up with a lot of really good analytics yesterday. So I really appreciate everyone who's showed up today, who was here yesterday, and for liking the stream. Oh yeah, and I had the most likes I think I've ever had. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are baller, and I appreciate your support.
I didn't mean to shoot him or anything. I didn't even think I was holding the trigger.
Hit the
I was just
mic.
pointing it at him. And I didn't even know that I shot him. It just went off and he lunged at me and we fell really hard against the tile toward the other wall, like kind of near the scales or whatever those things are. So at this point, I didn't even know that if he had been shot. I didn't see anything different. He was just, we were struggling and wrestling, and he's a wrestler. He wrestled in high school and he was getting on top of me. And I didn't want him to get on top of me because when you've done that in the past, I can't get out of those holes. So he's grabbing at my clothes and I got up and he's screaming angry. And after I broke away from him, he said, "Fucking kill you, bitch." And
Before he lunged at you, was he yelling at you and threatening you? To your recollection?
he was chasing me and he was pissed off.
Okay. Do you remember him yelling or saying anything?
He was calling me names because I dropped his camera.
Do you remember what those were?
Well, I remember him calling me a fucking idiot. And I remember him telling me that a 5-year-old can hold a camera better than me.
Do you remember saying anything to him as he lunged at you?
I don't think so. I was crying and running, and I pointed at him, assuming that he would get the idea to stop. He wouldn't stop.
What do you mean he wouldn't stop?
Well, after the gun went off, I thought
The
crap,
curls
he was
have
really
gotten better.
pissed. I didn't know that I shot him. I thought I shot a hole in the wall or something, and I'm thinking he's really going to be pissed at me now. So now he's telling me he's going to kill me, and I think after he said that, he had almost killed me before, and
And what?
there's a lot of that day that I don't remember. There are a lot of gaps. I don't remember the poses of the pictures. I remember them now that I've seen the pictures, but I didn't remember them until I saw them. I remember taking pictures. I just don't remember the pictures themselves, even though we looked at them. And now I see them, I remember them.
Well, let me ask you this, getting us back to that moment in time, not the poses, anything else. You told us that he said, kill you, bitch, and you were underneath him trying to get away.
He said that right after I broke away from him.
Okay, right after you broke away from him. Once you broke away from him, what?
Hey, Lefty, can you check or can you drop?
Almost nothing for a long time.
Thank you.
There are some things that have come back over years, but nothing, I don't know if those are things that I'm thinking of from before, or if it's that day. It's confusing. There is like a huge gap. Like, I don't know if I blacked out or what. There's a huge gap. And the most clear memory that I have after that point is driving in the desert. But there are certain
It's whatever.
little things that have come back, like pictures in my mind that have come back since then.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you remember stabbing Travis Alexander?
I have no memory of stabbing him.
Do you remember, as we see here in Exhibit 162, do you remember dragging him across the floor?
Oh. I just remember trying to get away from it.
Hello.
Showing you Exhibit 73. Do you remember placing him in the shower?
Adrenaline's a hell of a thing.
Sorry, that's no.
You told us that after running away from him, you don't have any clear memories of what happened after that until hours later, right?
I have a few memories, but nothing super clear.
Okay, tell us about those memories.
Right now.
I have a vague memory of putting the knife in the dishwasher, but I put the knife in the dishwasher before, so I'm pretty sure it was that day.
Do you know where you got the knife from?
It was upstairs.
Are you assuming that, or do you remember that?
I'm assuming that. I haven't been really since he cut the rope.
What's that?
I don't think it had been touched by either of us since he used it to cut the rope.
What else do you remember from after the time that you crawled out from underneath him?
I remember I was in the bathroom. I remember dropping the knife and it clanged to the tile. It made a big noise. And I just remember screaming. I don't remember anything after that. Not immediately.
Do you remember where he was when you were screaming?
I think he was next to me on the floor. I don't know.
Do you know where you were?
I was in the bathroom.
What else do you remember?
Not much.
Not much mean nothing?
I remember more the feeling of that time, not pictures and things that I can bring back.
Tell us about the feeling.
It was like mortal terror. It was like I pissed him off the worst I'd ever seen him pissed off. And then I tried to stop him, and then I pissed him off even more. And I thought, shit, I'd really, really pissed him off. And he was angry at me and he wasn't gonna stop.
What do you mean by he wasn't gonna stop?
He wasn't gonna stop, he wasn't stopping. He was,
When you say he wasn't gonna stop, did you feel that he was going to kill you?
for sure, when he said kill you, yes. He'd almost killed me before, and now he was saying he was going to.
So when he said that to you, you believed him because of past incidents.
Definitely.
Angry person.
Why did you believe him when he said, kill you, bitch?
Because he'd never said that before, and he'd taken me almost to that point without that threat, and now he was clearly making that threat.
You told us your last memory in Travis's bathroom was sitting on the bathroom floor screaming.
I don't know if I was sitting or what, I just remember dropping it,
Okay. Dropping the knife?
yes. I remember it was going through my head, I don't remember anything else after that.
What was going through your head?
That I just couldn't believe what had happened, that I couldn't take anything back, what had just happened, and it was like, I couldn't rewind the clock.
Did you realize all that had happened?
I don't know about all, but I just remember dropping the knife and being very freaked out and screaming.
After remembering that feeling and dropping the knife in the bathroom and some of the other memories you've shared with us, what is the next point in time for which you have a memory?
From which that I remember. I remember driving. I thought I was driving west because I remember the sun was in my eyes for a while. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't have my GPS anymore. I hit a lot of stoplights, so I don't know that I was on a freeway. I hit a lot of stoplights. And then eventually I was in the desert. I don't know where. It got dark.
So you don't remember really even driving other than what you told us?
Well, that was the first more or less clear memory after.
Okay. Did you have thoughts about what happened?
Yes.
At that point in time, when you were pulling away and driving away, did you have the gun with you?
I don't remember bringing the gun with me, but I remember throwing it
Throwing it where?
in the desert.
Okay. What about the rope he had tied you up with? Did you take that with you?
Yes.
And do you remember what you did with that?
Eventually it went into a dumpster.
Where?
It was behind a gas station. I think it was somewhere after St. George. I don't remember. It was getting light out, wherever I was parked at that point.
Do you remember? Let me ask you this. When you were driving, was there blood on you?
Yes. When I finally came to, I saw there was blood on my hands. And I didn't have my shoes. I didn't know where my shoes were. I was in the middle of nowhere, so I pulled over. And I got out of my car. I was really thirsty. So I had a case of water from Costco in the trunk. So I got some water, a water bottle. I rinsed my hands off with it as well. I got my other shoes, I had business shoes for the prepaid thing. I got those on.
When you do this, you have the water, you're cleaning the blood off yourself. And did you stop and clean yourself up before you dispose of the weapons or after you dispose of the weapons? Or is it all one stop?
Well, I don't remember what happened to the knife, so it wasn't in the car with me. The gun was when I stopped. And the rope was after that, another stop.
When you got to this point in time, then, did you do so with the full realization of what had happened in the bathroom?
I don't know how full my realization was, but I knew that it was really bad, and that my life was probably done now.
At this point in time, did you believe that Mr. Alexander was dead?
I believe that, but because I didn't have any clear memory.
Whether he was alive or dead.
Repeat the question.
Explain to us if you believed Mr. Alexander was alive or dead. Let me just ask you this, yes or no, did you believe he was alive?
I didn't know, but I didn't think he was, because I didn't know. I thought he was not alive at that point.
Was there a part of you that hoped he was?
Yes. Of course.
What's that?
I said, yes, of course.
What do you mean, of course?
I wish that it was just a nightmare that I could wake up from. And then just find out that everything was still the same way.
Did you still love him?
Yeah, I did.
Do you still love him now?
Yeah, it's a different love, but yes, I do.
Now, after you cleaned yourself up and you disposed of the gun and the rope, what do you do next?
I started looking around for the charger that I thought I left because Matt hadn't answered his phone until he was there. And I started cleaning out the car and it was under the seat of the passenger side. So I plugged it in. I turned on my phone. There was no reception. There was, as I began to drive, some reception came, like one little bar, and then two, and then one, and then none. And I had, I think I had voicemails. I kept trying to check them, but this reception wasn't strong enough to complete the call. So I don't know if I had text messages or not, but I text.
Why are you interested in your voicemails at this point in time?
Well, I realized at that point that a lot of time had lapsed and that people would probably be wondering where I was. I realized that it was irresponsible of me to just hang out with Travis, but he always was the priority whenever we got together. And so all my other responsibilities just they went to the back burner. So at this point I thought, well, Ryan was expecting me, Leslie was expecting me, all these people are expecting me. I don't even know which way I'm going at this point. I don't even know what I'm going to tell them. Maybe I'll say I got lost. I don't know. I'm thinking of all these things. So I finally get to the sign that's where it says Las Vegas is like 100 miles away. So I thought, okay. I had an idea sort of where I was at this point. And then I came upon the Hoover Dam and there was a checkpoint there. I had to stop and then they let me go through it. And on the other side of the Hoover Dam, I stopped again, pulled over. And at this point, I realized I was in really deep trouble. And
Really? That's
of what I
the
could do
time?
to delay the inevitable.
Cool. Let me ask you about that. Your phone was working then? If it gets the question, why not just
Not
dial
just
911
when you shot him?
and tell them what happened?
I was scared and I couldn't imagine calling 911 and telling them what I had just done.
Why not?
Well, I was scared of what would happen to me. I was scared of a lot of things. I was thinking of all kinds of things, my family, myself, what would happen. I was thinking of having to explain that,
Can you explain what?
how the day ended up unfolding. I was just really scared. I was actually very scared going through the checkpoint too. I thought, oh my gosh, they're gonna pull me over and this is it.
Well, you talked about, you said that the people expecting you to be in Utah, Ryan, Leslie, and you mentioned delaying the inevitable. What did you mean by delaying the inevitable?
Going to
I
the
know I
police?
messed up pretty badly, and that the inevitable was going to be that it's not something I could really run from.
You said that you messed up pretty badly. But he attacked you. Why did you feel like you messed up pretty badly?
Oh,
Because, I mean, he attacked me, but I don't know, I didn't look at it like that. He had attacked me in the past and nothing happened. Nothing like this.
But it was different this time, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, it was different.
this is her own attorney, by the way. This is not the prosecution pointing this out. Just want to share that for the record.
It was heightened.
Okay. So you felt a sense of remorse about what happened?
Of course, I wanted to rewind the clock and just
And what?
so that never had happened. I mean, I was thinking at the time, the camera, if I wouldn't have dropped the camera, but I realized there were probably other steps that could have been taken, even though we got really mad. And even though he threatened to kill me, maybe I didn't run left instead of right.
So you're regretting not taking alternative steps, right? Is that correct?
Sustain, rephrase.
I regret not taking better photos.
Were you angry at yourself?
I just felt a whole lot of emotions. Mostly I was very scared. And I was very upset. And I was very, I don't know, it's hard to explain because I just wanted to die.
Did you contemplate killing yourself at that point in time?
Not that very moment, but yeah, it did thereafter.
Okay. Well, let's stay in that moment for now. Talk about delaying the inevitable and how you can't run from this. People are waiting for you. What do you decide to do?
I knew that my life was pretty much over, but I didn't want anyone to know that that had happened or that I did it. So I started taking steps, or what I could do in the aftermath of it, to try to cover up that I was there. So I did a whole bunch of things to try to make it seem like I wasn't ever there.
Do you remember what those things were?
Yeah, when I pulled over at the Hoover Dam, I thought of, well, I called Ryan at that point, and Leslie said we called Travis because we thought maybe he would know where you were, because we know that he still talks to you. And so then she said, I've left a voicemail, and I thought, oh, okay, so they're gonna find his voicemail. Maybe I should leave a voicemail. So I called his phone to leave a voicemail. I didn't really know what I was gonna say. I just thought, at this point, I told Ryan I got lost, and I told Leslie the same thing. And his voicemail picked up, and I started trying to say that too. But I was crying, and I was trying to sound cheery, but I was crying. And so I would hit pound, and I would listen to that message, and it didn't sound right. So I would delete it, and I would try again. And that one, then I started crying in the message, and that one didn't sound right. So I deleted it, and I would try again. And then I was talking too fast in this one, or I started crying in that one. So finally, I'm frustrated that this call is a long time.
She
and
does
I
talk
hung up, and
fast.
I erased the message by hitting 3, and then I started recording it again. And then I listened to it that time, and I was like, okay, it's good enough. I'm gonna leave that. And so I had that message.
So this was your effort to try to act as if you weren't present in Mr. Alexander's home on June 4th?
Yeah, I figured that eventually his voicemails are going to be listened to, and I thought that'll just, throw the scent off for a little while, so to speak.
Excuse me.
So after you make these calls to Mr. Burns, Ms. Jodi, and Mr. Alexander's voicemail, what do you do next?
Kept driving past Vegas.
Where were you intending to go?
I realized that in order to keep up that pretense, I had to keep part of the schedule that I was sticking to. So my intention was to show up in Utah, make an appearance, and go home.
Okay. And showing up in Utah, was that for the business meeting that we had heard about earlier?
Yeah, whatever was going on that day. It would have been a briefing, I think. That's what I went to.
The overall intent of going to Utah was to spend time and get to know Ryan Burns, right?
That was the whole purpose for the trip initially. That and the see places on the list and my photography.
All right. So when you were driving from the Vegas area to Utah, did you contemplate what sort of behavior Mr. Burns was expecting out of you when you got there?
Yes, I was contemplating what kind of behavior anyone would expect out of me, which would just be the same me or normal or trying to act like my same happy-go-lucky self that I tried to always be.
So,
That
as it
she
relates to-
tried.
and I'm going to ask about just a couple of people because we've seen them throughout the course of this trial. How did you try to act in front of Leslie Udy that would be quote unquote normal?
Just positive, not emotional.
Okay. And what about Ryan Burns? You'd exchanged flirtatious text messages with him. Heard about this being a budding romantic relationship, at least from his perspective. What did you feel like acting normal would mean with Mr. Burns?
I didn't know, just hanging out and trying to act like, oh, I just got lost, you know, and I'm kind of dingy anyway, because when I did it, everyone thought, oh, that's just Jodi, so okay, that's good.
Mr. Ryan Burns expected.
She's explaining why and her behavior, Judge.
Overall, may continue.
So I don't remember what I was saying. I just was trying to act like myself. And
But what did that mean with Mr. Burns? Did you contemplate what expectations he might have based on your previous dialogue?
yeah, I did. I guess he didn't expect sex or anything like that.
In your opinion, when you were contemplating what he would expect out of you, was sexual intercourse something that you thought he would be expecting from you?
No, it's not anything we discussed.
Was physical contact of a sexual nature something that you thought that he might be expecting?
No. I don't know about what you mean by sexual.
Well, let me ask you this then. I'll put it more directly. Do you think, in your efforts to appear normal, do you think that he might have been expecting you to, the two of you to kiss?
Speculation as to, again, what he might have expected.
Those are her perception. I'm not asking his. I'm asking hers.
Without understanding, overruled from the answer.
Yes.
Did you feel as if he had the expectation that this time together would be romantic or romantic?
I don't know how romantic. I just was going with the idea that we would just hang out and have fun and get to know each other and see if there was any spark there or not.
When you were in Utah, did you kiss Mr. Burns?
Eventually we kissed.
Did you cuddle with Mr. Burns?
Yes, I went to sleep.
Why?
Why did I go to sleep?
Why did you kiss and cuddle with Mr. Burns?
Well, I showed up at his house. He had given me directions there. We were hanging out, watching a movie. I was laying on, I don't know if it was a couch or bed or what, or love sack, I can't remember. It was just furniture in his room. And we were watching some like scary movie, I guess. And he was laying next to me. We weren't like really touching, but we were kind of laying next to each other. And I don't know, I felt safe right there. And I figured like if I don't kiss him at all, I don't know, I guess I just wanted to seem like normal. I wanted to seem like I was okay, like things were okay, like I didn't just do it, I just did.
And that was a pretense you kept up for about a day or so with Mr. Burns?
Yeah, I think I went to, not even that. I'd gone to the restaurant earlier with him, or I followed him there. I went to the business briefing, and then I needed to get on the road. It was Thursday night. I had to work Friday. I don't know, I just needed to get home. So I went back to his house. We set the alarm, and I think I slept for 2 or 3 hours, and then I got back on the road.
You mentioned going to the briefing and the restaurant and driving around with Mr. Burns. You recall hearing the testimony of Officer Galletti?
Yes.
And he had pulled you over for your license plate being upside down. Do you recall that happening?
Mhm. Yes, I remember that.
Did you put your license plate upside down?
No.
Do you have any idea as to how that happened?
I had told Ryan that
Objection, hearsay, speculation.
approach.
So weird. I don't get certain comments like from if people are using their phones. I'm not able to see them. I know that you guys are commenting because it's showing up in my StreamYard, but this like phone YouTube is driving me crazy.
Officer Galletti pulled you over.
Sound
Did you
like a
know that your
boomer.
license plate was upside down?
No, I did not.
Do you have any reason to suspect how your license plate might have got upside down?
I could only think of two things. One, I rented it that way and didn't notice it. Or two, when I stopped at Starbucks in Pasadena, when I was walking toward my car, the parking lot was packed. It was dark though. Obviously the parking lot lights were on. As I was walking toward my car, there were some skaters, young kids that were skating. They were kind of snickering and skating away from the car. And I didn't think anything of it. But as I got into the car and began to back out,
Skater
of the parking
boys.
space, my headlights hit something bright, and I realized it was reflective. So I got out just to check what it was, and it was a license plate, and mine was just removed. The license plate had bugs all over it, and the car that I just rented had bugs all over the grill except where the license plate was. So I just said, "Oh, this is my license plate."
Let's clarify here, because just to be clear, are you talking about this license plate you saw, one that was on the front of the car or the back of the car?
It was on the front.
So your rental car had two license plates, to your recollection?
Yes.
All right. So at that point in time, did you notice your rear license plate being upside down?
No, it didn't occur to me to check it.
And when or after Officer Galletti pulled you over for having a license plate upside down, did you yourself have the tools necessary to correct that problem?
No, I didn't. I was going to ask the owner of the restaurant if he had a screwdriver. So then Brian, I guess, did it for me. I didn't have any of that to do.
After you said you slept a few hours at Mr. Burns, his residence, before you got back on the road to Wairika, did you kiss him that morning before you left as well?
Yeah, we kissed goodbye. We had fallen asleep on the love sack, and we woke up when my phone went off with the alarm. And yeah, we kissed. We weren't like making out, not like he said. But yeah.
Okay. So after you leave Mr. Burns' house, you're still in your rental car, correct? When you're driving your rental car back to Wairika?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And this would have been a day and a half later that you returned to Wairika, right?
I was driving back early Friday morning, hoping to make it on time to Wairika for my shift at 4 o'clock.
Because you were expected there, right?
I was expected there, and there's nobody. It's a small restaurant. There's nobody else that would. I don't know.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. What was the plan? What were you going to do? What were you going to say
When
you went back home?
I didn't have a plan. I just wanted to go home. I wanted to go home and act as normal as I could for the time being. I didn't know what to think. I just wanted to die.
Oh,
You said
tell us more.
you wanted to die. Did you contemplate killing yourself on your return to Wairika?
I just finished the season of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And first of all, I'm obsessed with that show. So hello, Hulu. Second of all, well, you guys will just have to wait.
Were you contemplating killing yourself as you returned to Wairika?
I have to take my vitamin.
I wasn't formulating plans to commit suicide on my return trip, but I did after that.
And I want to make sure we
Vitamin
heard you correctly. You
C.
said you didn't formulate any plans on the way back home?
I wasn't thinking of it. I just wanted to die.
When you went to Utah and when you were going to go home back to Wairika, did you have injuries?
Yes.
What were those injuries?
I guess they were like scrapes and things all over my ankles. And I had cut myself downstairs the day before. Well, I guess it would have still been before we woke up, before we went to bed. I was getting water in the kitchen. I dropped one of his glasses and broke it. And he didn't get really mad, but he called me klutzy. So I was picking up the glass and I cut myself with the glass. So I had that injury, but it was, I guess, unrelated. But when I pulled over in the car, when there was blood on my hands, it had reopened and it was just bleeding a little bit. It was kind of, I don't know, it wasn't really a deep cut, but it was bleeding a little bit.
So what did you, when you were in Utah, I should have asked earlier, when in Utah, did you formulate a excuse for this injury?
Yeah, I think I said I cut myself.
Any explanation how?
The week before, I cut myself really badly at work, so I think I just said, "Oh, I'm a bartender. I cut myself." I think it was actually June 1st. I cut myself. I remember that because the date was on the photo on my phone.
You get back home to Wairika?
Yes.
Do you get there on time for your shift?
I think if I was late, it wasn't very late. I was there.
Okay.
I think I was late that day, but I made it there.
Do you work?
Wow.
Yes.
At this point in time, had you seen any of your family members yet?
Probably my grandparents. I went home, I think, and changed into my work clothes real fast and drove over to the restaurant.
Okay. When you got home, what did you tell your family?
I didn't tell them anything.
Just tried to live as normal?
Basically, I tried to act like nothing happened and just waited for the clock to tick down.
I can't believe this is at 1.5 times speed. This is so slow.
What clock are we talking about? To your arrest?
Yes, that clock.
You said you got back in early June, back to Wairika, and you were arrested in July. Did you ever contemplate or attempt suicide during that period of time?
Yes.
Oh.
Not attempted. I took steps to.
Oh.
Steps.
I bought a gun.
You say you bought a gun. Where did you buy the gun?
It's called Don Sporting Goods on Minor Street in Wairika.
So you bought it at a sporting goods store. Did you need to
Oh.
get a license in California?
Yeah, California requires a 10-day background check and then for the gun to be registered.
Apart from buying the gun, did you take any other steps relating to killing yourself?
Makes sense.
Yes, I began to prepare for, there were things that I didn't want to come out about Travis or that I was participating in with him, and so I got rid of the clothes, the underwear, boys' underwear. I got rid of that.
Is that the Spider-Man underwear?
Yeah.
Is that a yes, Jodi?
That's a yes.
And what else did you do?
Do you mean to get ready to commit suicide?
Yeah.
I was gonna leave the area so that, I was on the fence about suicide. I wanted to kill myself, but I also knew that if I don't kill myself, I'm gonna get arrested. So it's one or the other. So I decided to move. I was gonna move back to Monterey so that regardless of which one came first, wouldn't have to be in Wairika.
Why didn't you want to be in Wairika when either of those two events took place?
I guess I just thought that it would be easier if it was not easier for my family if it wasn't right in the backyard. So
Either alternative?
yes.
Now, apart from buying a gun, though, we know that you had several phone conversations with Detective Flores when you lived in Wairika, didn't you?
Yes.
those came to pass after you learned from other parties of Mr. Alexander's death. Is that correct? When did you make those phone calls?
I think I tried to call him on June 10th.
That was the first time you tried to speak with him?
Yeah, I got some voicemail.
What prompted your call to Detective Flores on June 10th?
I think Leslie encouraged me to call him. Call him.
Well, let me ask you this question. When were you informed?
Wow.
Dan called me the night before,
Dan who?
and Dan called me and told me.
Dan Crenshaw?
Oh, Dan who?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Dan Freeman. He didn't tell me that he died.
He told you that Travis died?
He did not.
It's excited at our story.
Is it 3 o'clock? Oh, it's 4 o'clock. Hold on a second,
We're
guys.
gonna take a community recess at this time. Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh.
on 25, please remember the admonition. You're excused.
All right, we're getting to the good part. That sounds morbid. Sorry. Stream is brought to you by Flonase. Refresh eye drops. Sharpies. And sun entrance.
Please be seated. The record will show the presence of the jury, the defendant, and all counsel. Mr. Nurmi, you may continue with direct examination.
Ms. Arias, before lunch, I think, when I spoke to you about
I gotta let Riley out. 1 second, guys.
from Utah to Wairika,
Riley.
you were still driving your rental car, is that correct?
Yes,
And did you return that back in Reading where you got it?
eventually I did, but not on time.
You say eventually, do you recall when you were supposed to have it back versus when you did get it back?
Yes, it was supposed to return the same Friday and ended up returning it on the Saturday instead.
And why were you a day late? Was this because of the time you spent with Ryan Burns, or?
Yeah, I overslept, and I underestimated the time that it would take to get from West Jordan to Wairika, or to Reading. So if I would have cut over to Reading to drop the car off at the airport, it would have maybe even later than it was for work. So rather I just took the highway around the northeast side of Mount Shasta and went straight to Wairika because it was faster. But I called the car rental place first to make sure I had permission to do that.
So when you went to Wairika, back home to Wairika, what car did you drive?
We have a bunch of new people. Hi, hello, welcome. If you could please like the stream and subscribe to the channel, both of which are free, that would help me a lot. Thank you. I hope you are enjoying this. Enjoying is a bizarre word to use. I digress.
For my trip to Reading.
And then you went back down to Reading and then back home again.
The next day I went to Reading. I think it was my sister-in-law that drove me to the airport and then back to her house where my car was parked at my brother's house.
Now, based on the timeline we've been talking about regarding your time in Utah, do you recall what day your shift was back? And this was at Casa Ramos, right? You're still working there?
Yes, Casa Ramos.
And what day was your shift on? What day were you scheduled to work, I should say?
That Friday, I think I was supposed to be there at 4 or 4:30.
Okay. So you say you went to your grandma's, changed, and went straight to work, right?
Yes,
And because of that schedule, you didn't have an opportunity to speak with your family before the end of that shift. Is that accurate?
no, I was in a rush. I didn't have the opportunity. I just ran home. I was already late, so
And you were living at your grandparents' at this time?
yes.
And based on what you told us before, you had, at this point in time anyway, a pretty good idea that Travis is dead. Is that right?
Yeah, it's something I wasn't accepting in my head, but obviously I kind of knew it, but I wasn't like facing it, if that makes sense.
You wanted to deny that reality, right?
Very much.
When, well, let me ask you this. At this point in time, did you have any knowledge of anyone else knowing of Travis's death?
As far as I knew.
Were you thinking, or were you fearing that that might happen soon?
Yeah, I assumed it was going to, and I was definitely not. I was definitely fearing that.
When did that fear become a reality?
I think it was early in the morning on June 10th, sometime after midnight. Dan Freeman called me, and I saw his name on the caller ID when he was calling my phone, and I thought that would probably be the phone call that I was dreading, and I answered it, and he told me that something.
Based on that phone call, did you come away with the understanding that Mr. Alexander had been found dead?
That wasn't definitively said, but I assume that was the case.
Did you said not definitively said, did you seek out other confirmation of this?
Yes.
And whom did you contact?
Through Dan Freeman, I learned who was there, and I began calling. I called his friend, Travis's friend, Brent Hyatt. There was no answer, so I called. I don't remember if I called Zach Billings, his roommate, but I was talking to his girlfriend. She wouldn't say much, and then I was able to get Bishop Layton's phone number. That was the bishop, Travis's ward. I was told he was there, and by then it was like 3 a.m, and I called Bishop Layton, and that's when he told me.
Told you that Travis was dead?
Yes.
How did you react to that news? At least telling me about that news.
Perfect.
Oh, I guess I can talk. So this is the end of the defense case.
When you received confirmation from Bishop Layton that Travis was in fact dead,
Hello,
how did you
everyone.
react to that?
Welcome.
I just remember I was in the living room at my grandmother's house on my phone, and I doubled over and started sobbing really hard, and I couldn't stand up.
Prior to you learning that information, hearing that information from Bishop Layton, was there still a part of you that was hoping that he really wasn't dead, that he was just injured?
I was hoping the whole thing wasn't real. That was just a nightmare, and that, of course, I was hoping none of that had ever happened.
And when you heard that from Bishop Layton, that's when you realized that hope was dashed. Is that fair to say?
Same.
Was that hope that it was a nightmare gone after you talked to Bishop Layton?
Reality set in a lot more than that. I still, to this day, I wish it was just a nightmare. But I wasn't able to just deny it as much in my head, or it was more like facing me squarely. And
Can you describe, apart from facing you squarely, could you describe those emotions that caused you to double over?
Hi, Amy.
it's more like things that were going through my head.
What was going through your head?
I didn't know how his friends had found him, and I thought of what everyone was going through.
Okay.
And thought of Napoleon.
He had roommates. How did no one hear this? Like, didn't he have 3 roommates? Also, yeah, the dog. I hope she at least left him some friggin' food.
I didn't know what to think. It was a disaster, and I had to hang up with Bishop Layton.
After you hung up with Bishop Layton, what did you do?
I was scared. I figured I'd probably get arrested.
This is me.
And
This is me.
still trying to keep up the pretense that
You said you feared arrest at that point. What was your plan? You talked about earlier about, was this when you decided, well, I'm either going to kill myself or I'm going to move to Monterey?
no, I know I'd get arrested or I'd end up probably killing myself. Around that time, no, I hadn't decided yet to move to Monterey, but it came like a few days later.
Okay. Well, we've heard earlier about your conversation with Detective Flores that happened on June 10th. Did you have this conversation after you spoke with Bishop Layton?
Yes, later in the day, I don't know, it was like 3 in the morning that I spoke with Bishop Layton, and I think it was in the afternoon that I spoke with Flores.
You called him, right?
I just now saw those comments.
Why?
Leslie encouraged me to, and I thought, she said that,
Leslie encouraged you to talk, and by Leslie, we're talking about Leslie Udy.
yes,
You had spoken to her after you learned of, after you spoke to Bishop Layton?
Yes.
Okay.
Next day, or later in the day.
And when you call Detective Flores, what, obviously you just told us, Leslie, Miss Jodi had encouraged you to do so. But beyond that, did you have your own reasons for contacting Detective Flores?
Yes.
What were those?
I thought that if I didn't call him, it would look more suspicious than if I did call him. So in an effort to pretend like I was never there, I called him.
Okay. Why not call him and tell him what happened?
I was
Yeah,
I
Jodi,
was scared to do that.
we heard that
I mean,
you're
I
kind of
just
crazy.
couldn't imagine admitting to something like that. I couldn't imagine doing something like that.
So you called him to act as if, to begin putting up the facade that you had nothing to do with it. Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, I began that decide almost right away.
Thank you
because I
so
didn't have any
much.
reason to leave
So
it.
nice.
That's why I called him also.
So to try to continue the facade that you began in Utah, you called Detective Flores.
Yes.
Now, we talked earlier about a gun you had purchased. We talked about suicide and about a gun you had purchased it. I believe you told us Don's Sporting Goods, right?
Right.
Okay. When, and you said you went through a background check and everything. When was it that you purchased that gun?
I think I purchased it on July 1st and took possession of it July 11th. if I remember correctly.
It was a long time ago.
And what kind of gun was this?
The crazy still lives, though.
Now, there is a lot of time between June 10th and early July. 3 weeks or so. Did you make any attempts to kill yourself during those 3 weeks?
No.
During that time period, you also made various calls to Detective Flores.
Yes.
Why were you continuing to do that?
A few reasons. One, I wanted to continue to act like I was participating. And two, I kind of also was calling him to see what information I could garner from him.
Because you wanted to get whatever sense you could of whether you're going to be arrested soon. Is that right?
Rephrase.
Would it be fair to say you were trying to see if your arrest was imminent?
I knew it was imminent. I just wanted to see how much, I wanted to try to determine how much time I had.
Given that what you said before about killing yourself and not seeking a gun out until July, you were living at your grandparents' house, you had access to guns, right?
Yes. My parents had guns also.
No? Did you ever contemplate using one of those guns to kill yourself?
No, the idea to use a gun to kill myself.
Would have been more
I
economical.
had possession of the gun and I realized how easy that could be.
You said it didn't come to your mind until you had possession of the gun. Is that right?
Yes.
So it sounds to me like that wasn't, the killing yourself wasn't the reason you purchased this gun, that there must have been some other reason. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's accurate.
Why were you choosing to purchase this gun at the sporting goods store?
Several reasons. My dad has always owned guns. Daryl has guns. Matt has guns. Most of the men that I've spent time with have guns. My grandfather has guns. It was something that I wanted to someday see myself being a responsible gun owner. And so that was something I always thought of doing. Around that time, I was in the spring, I was working at another restaurant called Purple Plum, and I made friends there.
Purple
And
plum.
one of those friends was going out to pan for gold. It sounds silly, but the Klamath River nearby has gold in it still. We used to go out there and
I've done that before.
water and all that. I was invited out there and I wanted to go. It would also be like a camping trip. At that point, everyone that was on board, except for me, were all men. And even though they were my friends, I didn't want to, I don't know, it just seemed like I knew they drink, you get out there in the middle of nowhere, you have a bunch of drunk guys, one female. I just didn't want to end up in a situation. So I thought it would be good to have the gun with me when I went there, just as general protection anyway, because I'm out in the middle of nowhere. So we were gonna go out there and spend the weekend out there at the Klamath River, seeing what we could dig up or in the river, and just camp. And so that was another reason I wanted to have it right then.
Why, what were you fearful of these people would do something to you?
Well, I mean, it was a bunch of guys, and I mean, I didn't feel as safe anymore.
Around guys?
Yes,
And you say anymore, you mean after June 4th?
definitely after June 4th, yes. It was kind of a progressive thing, but I didn't feel safe at all after June 4th.
Now, After Travis's death was discovered by the rest of the world, were there services for him, funerals, memorials, things of that nature?
Yes, there was a memorial service at his church in Mesa, and the funeral, I believe, is held in Riverside.
Did you attend either of those?
I tried to attend both, but I only made it to the memorial service
And that was the one in Riverside?
in Mesa.
Given what had happened, why did you want to attend those services?
I thought that if I didn't show up, it would look suspicious because Travis and I were close, and a lot of people knew that, and he also told me one time that
Why did you feel the need? Had you made a promise to him that you would?
the subject of my funeral came up one time, and he said, I'm sorry.
And you and Travis had an agreement that you would attend each other's funerals?
Something to that effect. He was going to give a eulogy or something if I ever died.
And keeping that promise or that deal still meant something to you? I'm sorry, Ms. Harris, what?
Yes,
Why?
because he would have come to mind, and even if it was in Antarctica.
Even if he was in Antarctica.
Jodi, I have to ask, he throws you down on the floor, says, fucking kill you, bitch, and you fear for your life. Why doesn't that kind of conduct just kind of throw that promise way out the window?
No, I don't think so, because whenever he lost his temper, he seemed genuinely ashamed about himself afterward, and that's not the kind of person that I believed he was at the core of himself or who he wanted to be, so it wasn't like one of those things.
So you still viewed him as a good person? Is that correct? That you still viewed him as a good person?
I believed in him and that he wanted to be a good person. And
Hey guys,
Please answer.
while they're having a little pissy fit, my goal today would be, and I know it's attainable at this point, let's get to 700 subs. We are at 640 right now. If we could do that, we'll schedule a dance party of some sort. So you have to like the stream and subscribe. Well, in order to like the stream, you have to subscribe. It's free. Just go to. For those of you who don't know, this is a restream, and I am at 1,830 subs now. So it would be great to get to 2,000 subs. And I still owe a pool day. Maybe knows about it, but the pool here got algae. Okay, maybe no problem. It had an algae bloom issue, and so it has had to be treated every single day this week. And that sucks because it's been great weather. So I still owe that, but I can promise an extra sassy pool day with the Cougars. You guys down? This is wild. There's a ton of stuff going on right now. My channel, hit the subscribe button and like this stream, and let's make it happen. All right. Thanks, guys. Sorry for interrupting.
Make your answer.
I've seen very, very good sides to him, and that was the person that he wanted to be, and that's the person he wanted to embrace. And so, I mean, I've had sides that I'm not proud of, and he did too, and I just figured that's part of being human, and he had really good sides too.
By that point in time, had you forgiven him for attacking you that day?
By the time I went to the services,
Mhm.
I blamed myself, so I didn't know how much there was to forgive, but I had this experience. It sounds silly, but I had this experience.
What was your experience?
I was at the Freeman's house in Gilbert after the service, and I was in the bedroom in the afternoon, just taking time out for myself, away from everybody. And I felt like he was there.
Daisy.
What are they doing? I heard one person say chug. Man.
It helped me to know that he was okay and he was at a better place. And maybe that he wasn't mad anymore.
You were at the Freeman's in conjunction with his memorial service?
Yes.
After you had that experience, you forgive yourself for not escaping?
She was escaping.
She's already testified to that.
Judge, I make the objections. The way it works is I make the objections, you decide.
Oh my lord. Do not get your panties in a twist. My goodness. Cholo style. Okay, well, we're at sidebar right now. So yeah. If you haven't done the subbing and the liking thing yet, now would be the time. See a lot of people join. So hello, welcome.
That on June 4th, you didn't feel like you could escape because of an incident in 2007 where he caught you running down the hallway. Is that correct?
Yeah, my intention was to run out of the room and I didn't make it out.
So in 2008, on June 4th, based on what you said earlier, you didn't consider that a viable option on June 4th. Is that right?
It's being rephrased.
Did you consider, at the time, did you consider escape and running away as a viable option when he was attacking you?
Not through the bedroom door. I thought I could run into the closet and then run the other way and then maybe get out. It didn't work out that way.
So going back to my question then, when you were at the Freeman's and you had this experience, had you forgiven yourself for not trying another option?
No, I didn't.
As we stand here today, years later,
Day 20.
have you forgiven yourself for not trying another option?
Thank you, Gina. Have a great
I mean, I would have allowed that in. I think that's a fair question to ask. Della, there were some outgoing texts from him that were questionable, but I'm once again, I'm not saying that he deserved anything that happened to him. I feel horrible. I think everyone agrees that she is where she needs to be. But when we were going over text messages a few days ago and like up to yesterday, oh my God, in that phone call, that phone call was X rated. It was very uncomfortable to listen to. I felt like you needed a form of birth control just to listen to that.
Jodi, ask my question again. As we stand here today, have you forgiven yourself for not finding another way out of the situation you found yourself in on June 4th?
No, I think that if I just left before any of that happened, I have a million regrets. I mean, I was scared of him and I reacted, but I will always regret anything about that.
you blame yourself for not taking some other alternative measures?
Yes.
You did then and you do now, is that right?
Discussion has been answered.
Sustained.
Why do you still feel, given what happened on June 4th, why do you believe now that you realistically even had other options once it started?
Well, maybe if I hadn't, when I grabbed the gun, I didn't mean to fire it, it just went off and that made him even more angry. Like, he just became this volcano. And so I think that if maybe I'd handled it properly, I don't know, maybe he wouldn't have gotten he was already pissed off, but he was raging after that. And I think maybe if I'd handled the gun properly, I meant to just point it at him, I thought it would stop him. And maybe he wouldn't have gotten as angry as he did. Maybe he wouldn't have threatened to kill me. I don't know. I have thoughts like that.
And those thoughts were with you after you learned, or you got confirmation from others that he was deceased?
Actually, no, I didn't know that he got shot until Flores told me.
Well, what about
In
slicing his throat open?
Of your life
This is day
plan you
20.
made, you said that you called Detective Flores, and I'm paraphrasing, in an effort to act like you had nothing to hide. When you were living in Wairika, were you trying to put up that same facade?
Yes, I was.
Trying to act as if everything was normal?
Well, it depends on the time period. The first week, yeah, I tried to act like nothing had happened. And then when I talked to Bishop Layton and Dan Freeman, I felt like I had like more freedom to just let it out. Face my emotions.
It was no now.
Yes.
And you say let
HTAWM.
out your emotions. Apart from that initial outburst you talked about after speaking with Bishop Layton, did you have others?
Yeah, I did.
Several?
Usually every night.
Why every night?
I'm gonna get into that show.
Because at night I just lay there and think about stuff. And usually that's when he would call me. And usually when he called me late at night, he was in a good mood. And I just knew that my phone wouldn't ring anymore.
She is the worst fake crier. My
You had
dog
permission to
does a better job
open
crying
your
than
grief.
she does.
Did you tell your family what happened?
I told them that he died. Didn't tell them anything about me being there.
The shield is awesome.
Did you tell them about the things that you've told us throughout your testimony, about the sexual things and about the violence?
No, I would never say anything like that.
Why not?
Well, there's several reasons. One, anytime I said something negative about a guy, they hate him thereafter. Two, it's really embarrassing and shameful. Not just the sexual part, but
Heartburn attack.
being in those situations. And in order to understand,
Hey, guys.
talk about anything negative, I don't know if you.
I think it's time for me to shut down the stream. We're pretty low on people watching, which I appreciate everyone who is watching, but I gotta be quiet. I gotta handle stuff here. We got a whole house full of people. So I am going to get going, but I'll be back tomorrow at 3:30. And we will have the most viewed of the Jodi. Good night, everyone. I hope you have a blessed evening. Please stay safe and storm aware for those of you in the Northeast. All right. Look at this member. Love members chatting. And for those of you on replay, please don't forget to make sure to hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, why not? It's free. It's a blast over here. So jump in. The water's fine. All right, guys. I gotta go. See you tomorrow. Bye.